feelings. It's like I can't walk on the ceiling. Oh yeah, got me dreaming, dreaming in colors I never dreamed. Oh yeah, I let you in deeper than I let anyone else before. Filling up with my broken pieces, took them all and made them yours. Didn't know what my heartbeat needed, skipping out, no I can't keep score. When I lose my breath, boy, you got me breathing. Oh, every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Oh, magic. No, I'm never letting go. Now that I have it with you. When you kiss me, it's like the stars fall out the sky onto my heart to cover up what I don't wanna show. I let you in deeper than I let anyone else before. Filling up with my broken pieces, took them all and made them yours. Didn't know what my heartbeat needed, skipping out, no I can't keep score. When I lose my breath, boy, you got me breathing. Oh, every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Oh, you take me higher, you take me higher, baby, take me higher, you take me higher, baby, take me higher, you take me higher, baby, take me higher, yeah, you take me higher, baby.
Welcome to Saturday Night Vibe, the Progressive News Show with Let's Be S3. I am your host, Marlon Climber, along with Anna of BorelliEtc.com. That site, she got it on there. And Tracy Carson of Tracy Carson Media. So today we will, and there's Robinson Complex, my simple man. We will be discussing the 65 and the LA rebellion. I'm saying it that way because for the longest time it's been called the riots. There's a reason why it's been called the riots. Thus, it's the reason why I'm not going to use those words. And we'll see a video on that, but we'll get into lead up to it. And there are some things that I want to discuss off the cuff because I'm still using the same guy to get my information from. And I have a video where I want to emphasize that one of his reasons for the boil over, the rebellion, the protests, whatever, is one small layer of it. And I want to emphasize that very much because I don't want to get the real reason to get lost in translation because of this small layer that's added to it. But it all makes sense when I get to that part of the show. But I just want to emphasize that I do not want anything to take away from the real reason why all this happened. It is it's a part of it, but it's not the main part of it. So before we get started, as usual, Anna, how's everything going today?
This is going really good. It's been a fast week and probably gonna be a fast weekend too.
Good. Biff,
Doing pretty good. No, nothing really special to report.
how's everything at the house?
Uh, Nothing's really changed for the most part. Hopefully they'll start next week. And I mean, I was there, you know, today tearing some stuff out so I could figure out what my projects will be. But more irritation, man.
I get it. Tracy?
I am doing great. Had a good show yesterday. Looking forward to a good show today.
I had a great show yesterday too. Great show. We'll talk about it the second hour.
Please
Um,
do not.
I'm a little confused because this was not shown on the original. Is that Latasha Harling's in the picture to the right? It's not on the board. I don't know what happened to it, Parker, but it is. And I said that was correct. And lo and behold, Parker is here
At the
on time
beginning.
at the beginning of the show. Hello, Parker. Even Nikki said, hello, LOL, me too, Parker. Of course, it helps with Marlon, my elder sister reminds me. That's what I'm here for, Nikki. And she's also saying, hello, Marlon, Anna, Diaz, and Tracy. Hello, Nikki. I'm jealous. I have no elder sitter. I want an elder sitter who will remind me to get up at 3 a.m. I can text you, but if you're asleep, you're not going to get it till you wake up. Hey, everybody.
Hello, Susan.
Hello, season. I needed it. Getting old, and a lot of slips in my mind. You know, there are some days when I don't even think my mind works, and let's get this party going. So, as I said at the beginning, and I have a video showing this, as you see at the beginning, I did not call it the LA riot. I'm not going to call it the LA riots because there's a reason why the newspaper, the media back then called it, and to this day, call it the LA riots. So this is why I changed the name of it from riots to rebellion or riots to uprising.
I noticed in this episode that instead of calling it the Los Angeles riots or the Watts riots, as many people have since these events happened, we referred to them as uprisings and rebellions. As you've no doubt noticed in this series, the language that we use really matters. The word riot has often been used by many people to describe moments when Black people push back against the violence being enacted on them. And it has often been done to imply a certain level of chaos and mayhem and incoherence to what was transpiring. Quote, "The rioters were burning their city now, as the insane sometimes mutilate themselves," wrote a Los Angeles Times reporter on August 15, 1965, when talking about Watts. Part of what such language is meant to do is undermine the very real political dimension of the protest, which emerges from genuine grievance with the circumstances around them. So, in an effort to acknowledge the social and political forces shaping these events and the larger tradition of Black protest that they are a part of, describing these events as rebellions and uprisings, rather than riots, feels more accurate, more nuanced, and more responsible.
So, finally growing up, and I'll always be the first to say that, I was not at the level that I am now when it comes to social political things. I remember it always being called the riots. I also remember a video, and I tried my best to find it, and I cannot find it, but it was put out, but it was put together so graciously because it was showing rebellions with black people, and I would call it riots with predominantly white people who team won the championships or their sports team lost championships. If you look at the two videos, it's the same freaking chaos. Burning garbage cans, burning cars, kicking in windows, throwing rocks, and it's the exact same chaos. Now, you listen to the broadcasters, it's not the same thing. When it's the uprising, it's thugs. They're trash. They're dangerous. They're destructive. When it comes to the sports team, they're just they're just so upset. They're just letting off steam. And the worst thing that the worst thing they could possibly even say, close to what they was trying to do, it just got a little bit out of hand. They're still trying to downplay it. So yeah, the visual is as important as the audio put towards it. Because even at one point in the video, like I said, I can't find it. The guy actually switched the audio. So the sports fans that was losing their mind, he gave him the black eccentric news anchor coverage of it, and onto the other side, and you can see that it really was no difference. Theus?
I mean, there's not much I can contribute at this particular point because I really haven't studied much as it comes to the riots, uprisings, whatever term we want to ascribe to it. I'm a Stokely Carmichael guy, so I do hold to the belief that I won't tell the aggrieved how to express their frustrations. Um, so there's that piece, and then I view America as the evil empire that is out to harm its citizens whenever the needs of the citizens conflict with the image of the nation or the goals of its corporations. So, I mean, it's kind of like, can I really, when I view something to be something, uh, when it behaves according to its nature, I can't really say I'm surprised.
True.
I
Anna?
don't see a lot of the value though in quibbling over riot versus uprising versus rebellion because I personally don't think rebellion fits the situation.
I wasn't that crazy about the uprising thing my own self though. I don't know why that word just doesn't become.
You'll get me more on uprising than you will rebellion. Because uprising is there's a force that you're pretty much fed up with. And so you're reacting to it. But a rebellion is, I mean, it's just another way of saying revolt, right? It's much larger in scale, more sustained. Um, that's how I view a rebellion. Like you formed up and you're fighting this thing, as opposed to lashing out because you're just fed up in the moment.
Okay, Anna?
Yeah, I grew up with the word riot. Not quite, not quite sure on what word I would want to settle on without actually really looking at the definitions of them. So yeah, I'm just here learning as well. This is a faint memory. Happened when I was 11 years old in '92, and brand new learning about the '60s. So Marlon, you are muted now. You're
You're,
muted.
you're muted.
I tried to be nice and okay. Um, I'm still learning that everything seems to still be, and this I know everything way before '60s led up to situations in the '60s. But I just keep finding that every time I look up these stories, keep going back to the '60s. Like it's
I
something.
get it. I think the reason why we go back to the '60s is because it's when we have video footage. So, and also when a lot of our heroes that were more aggressive than their predecessors became known, right? Most of the struggle was done behind the scenes up until the 50s. And then in the 50s, it came into the light, but it had to be more genteel because of the terrorism that had always been occurring in the dark. So they had to be nicer about how they responded when they were the first ones to come out and respond in that manner. So your vanguard, your Martin Luther King type folks were nicer, more we just want to be with you. We just stop killing us, right? And then when you get into the 60s, you're looking at those who had survived the horrors of the 50s being in the streets, and then also the young children, now young adults, that are looking at it and they're saying, we literally watched the nice way. We are less patient now. You've had almost 20 years, 15 years to do better, and you refuse. And so like that I think that's why we go to the '60s, because it's much more, it feeds that part of us that wants to see more done. So you get your Black Panther Party because it's a rallying cry, right? For white America, they were fed an illusion of the Black Panther Party. These are gangsters and dangerous and ah. And then on our side, we're not taking any more junk, but we're not dangerous or violent. We just want to take care of our communities, but we're not going to sit here and be all nice with you while you're sitting here terrorizing us, right? So I think that's why we latch there. But if you look at things on a 30 to 40-year cycle, you'll get the 1920s. Like, so you got the 1890s, right, where we had coming out of slavery and Reconstruction falling apart. And then you come into the 1920s, and now you have like the first kind of lifting of the Black community, but still early in the Jim Crow era. So it's like our swing dancing, zoot suits. You look back at it and you kind of think of it that way, the roaring 20s. But there was a lot of turmoil then. And then you get your 50s, that's 30 years forward. You get the birth of the civil rights movement. You move forward another 30 years out of the 60s. Now you're in the 90s. You got those riots. And then you move, it's like every 30 to 40 years, we have the next chapter unfold. And we're roughly 30 years out of the 90s. So it's time. I don't know why my phone is all small this time. I can't read anything.
I don't know why I keep forgetting to unmute myself. Tracy,
The more things change, the more they stay the same. That's pretty much all I have.
Because the nature of your enemy hasn't changed.
pretty
Our
much.
understanding of our enemy should be changing, but it's not.
It's
It's
not.
the funniest thing. Our opponents continue to learn, to adapt, right? They're still executing the same plan, so to speak, but their tactics adjust every cycle. They get smoother, they get more I don't know the right words, but they get better at what they're doing. Like they're doing a new Jim Crow right now, but it doesn't feel like we think it should feel. So we're not fighting it the way that we should fight it because they're better at it right now. Meanwhile, we're still using the same tactics on our side. We haven't changed, and that's frustrating.
Alrighty. Oh, I did want to show this comment because Parker, you're right. Um, civil unrest is another term used in the news. You're right. So let's move on to the 1965 Watts Rebellion.
A large part of what shaped the landscape of racial tension in Southern California was the Watts Rebellion of 1965. The Watts Rebellion started after a Los Angeles police officer pulled over a young man named Marquette Fry. It began as a traffic stop, but escalated very quickly. An eyewitness told the Los Angeles Times, "I remember that they took him and threw him in the car like a bag of laundry and kicked his feet in and slammed the door." Many community members looked on and started to become more concerned as the police became more belligerent. This culminated in the police officers arresting and beating not only Marquette Fry, but multiple members of the Fry family who had tried to step in and help Marquette. The crowd grew and became angrier at the police brutality they were witnessing. After the police left, the tension escalated and led to 6 days of uprisings that ended in 34 deaths, over 1,000 injuries, and 4,000 arrests, and $40 million in damages. As a result of the Watts Rebellion, real estate prices plummeted.
Okay, so let me put up this comment. Parker was on a roll. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Well, I'll just paraphrase it because I don't think I can find it right now. Oh no, it's right here. It's interesting hearing you all talk about some of these historical events when you experience them in real time. My perspective is just learn about it for the first time in high school or college. This, to me, my opinion, if you notice the events that I choose to talk about is really more easier to digest because unfortunately you can see the similarity between then and right now in 2023. So it's funny when you always hear people, that's old news, that's old, that's old, that was a long time ago. When you clearly see that, yeah, that event may be a long time ago. The situation of that event still going on. It is literally still going on. There's not much of a change. Thea said it. It's not much of a change. 20, 30, 40, 50 years.
But the reason why it does that, Marlon, for those of you out there, which is one of the reasons people like myself have lost so much patience trying to explain things to people, is you look at, I'm going to use George Floyd or even Philando Castile or any of the many, many people who were murdered by the people we pay taxes to, but have always murdered our sons and daughters. Um, when you come from the protected class, aka not black, not certain levels of Latino, because there's levels to this. then you have been fed an image. Matter of fact, we have all been fed an image that the police are your friends, that if you weren't doing anything wrong, then you wouldn't have a problem. I don't do anything wrong, so I don't have a problem. So it must be something you did, or the classic, well, what happened before the tape started, right? These types of things, when you're coming from, uh, we're both coming to it or receiving it the same way, right? Because for the most part, we're raised amongst each other, especially someone like myself that was raised very, very much uh, integrated. So, where you have a breakdown is when your lived experience does not run into conflict with the messaging, with the story. So, for much of white America, they see each of the things that come news as an isolated event. So, when something occurs, something happened to this person, and they will agree with you, they will agree with us, that looks bad. That is horrible. They'll agree to that point. But because it's an isolated event to them, they then naturally run the numbers to whatever level they can. And they say, well, that's one person. The police interact with thousands of people every day. And yes, this horrible thing happened. And if it's wrong, then investigate it and hold them accountable, blah, blah, blah. But they can't tie it all together because for them, it was just a next event. But when your lived experience is in conflict with the story, which is much of our experiences, then you're seeing this and you run a different set of math. Now, what comes forward for you are all the stories that you have been told or shared with about your family, about your friends, about your parents' friends, about the people up the street, about everything comes together and the tapestry is woven because it's one more event for us. It is not a separate event as it is to them. So the emotional reaction is completely different because we have life experience that says, no, I know this isn't an isolated event. But for them to get there with us, they have to overcome cognitive dissonance. They have to attach themselves to a lived experience that they have no concept of and unravel their patriotism to latch onto this. It's so much easier to just write this off as a separate new event. And then you start teaching history, which is why they don't want history show. And they start piecing some things together and it becomes sad and it becomes depressing and it becomes unfortunate and the dissonance starts getting louder and louder and they need to shut it off. And then here we are.
That always boils down to me of the concept of it's always bad apples. It just makes the number smaller. It just makes
It's bad apples. It's bad apples because it's true. It's true. The 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 overwhelming number of police officers are just people doing their job. If that were not true, there would be more people dying every day at the hands of the police. So, as a fact, these are bad apples. But where the disconnect comes in is that we are telling you it's more than the bad apples. We are telling you that the bad apples are a representative bunch of the entire orchard. We are telling you that because you will not address the bad apples, the entire tree is bad. And since the tree is bad, that means all the other trees are sick. And that means the orchard is sick. And that means that the farmer is lazy. And that means that this is intentional at this point. That's what we're trying to tell you. But that's painful. It is an uncommon thing for an American white person, unless they grew up in an integrated environment. Right? They grew up in a very integrated environment. It can be a little different because human interaction conflicts with things and you start seeing things a little different. But if you grew up isolated, for you to agree with what I say about your community, for you to agree with what I say about your people, you now have to look at your mother and your father differently. You have to look at your grandparents differently. You have to look at everything that you hold true and see it differently. And that's painful. And you have the luxury to opt out. Now, when you have the option to take your hand off the stove, how many people are willing to lean in to the stove? Human nature forbids it. And that's why we continue to fight. Sorry, bringing all the sunshine today.
Let the world say amen. Amen.
And Parker, ask your parents, ask your grandparents, because yes, these things happen once a generation, and there should be some family stories of what happened. How did you feel during those times? Start the conversation.
In 30 years, we will be asked these questions.
Yep.
Assuming that we're free enough to answer them. Because if we're entering into a new round of Jim Crow, it will not look the same as a Jim Crow in the history books, people. But the effect will be just the same. The subjugation will be the same. It may not look the same. And so 30 years from now, 20 years from now, your child will ask, what happened? What did you do? What was it like in 2025? That shit's coming, folks. Because that's what we've done. I don't know about y'all, but I'm pretty sure you have. I've certainly done it. My parents were born in 53 and 55. Montgomery, Alabama. Right? Pure Jim Crow. So please believe I've asked the question. Some answers I was pleased with. Some I wasn't. But life is complicated, but they will ask you these questions. And so far, I'm not pleased with the answer that I'll have to give to my children.
All right, let's move on. Am I? Okay. This time I'm not muted. Let's move on. So this is the part where what I was saying at the beginning of the show. I wanted to put it in because I think it is a part. But I want to emphasize that it is not, to me, one of the main parts. Like I want to emphasize that if this was taken away, maybe kind of, sort of, things would have been better. I don't think it will. And like I said, it's my opinion. That's why we have this panel, so we can argue about it. But we don't have the luxury of going back and rearranging history, no matter how they want us to do so. Not rearrange it, just take it away. Well, no, I didn't rearrange it. I was right the first time. So, but I wanted to put this in because this is a part of it. This is a layer. But like I said, I don't want the bigger message to be lost on this one little part.
Many businesses were destroyed, which created opportunities for Koreans arriving in the country, many of whom would pool money together through a system known as KE to buy businesses cheaply and with little competition. Though many Black Americans welcomed Korean immigrants with open arms, there was also tension because of the way that Black Americans felt like they were being treated in Korean businesses. Many Black Americans felt like Korean immigrant store owners did not respect them or treat them with dignity. Black Americans also felt that the Korean immigrants wanted their business, but they were unwilling to hire Black employees, which was especially frustrating given that those businesses were in Black communities. Meanwhile, Korean business owners felt like they were being subjected to violence and felt like they needed to respond to it. Korean immigrants stated that the high crime rate and history of violence warranted their discriminatory behavior. And from a hiring perspective, in their view, these were family businesses, and they couldn't afford to hire many other employees in the first place. People on both sides were scared, angry, frustrated, and overwhelmed. Over the course of many years, the tension added to the dynamite that was just waiting to be lit. The reality is that when there's not enough to go around and people are struggling day to day, the sense of despair born from scarcity, which I remind you is manufactured scarcity that stems from public policy decisions, often can lead people to behave in ways that, well, reflect a sense of anger and desperation. And it usually doesn't bring out the best in people. These issues only increased as the decades went on.
In other words, here's my point. He used Koreans, the Korean people. I don't want anybody to miss the point that resources was stretched very freaking thin in that area. It was just next to you used the word the best I could do many times back then. Now really. But we're talking about back then. So just concentrate on back then. To have an influx of whoever. Because like I said, he used Koreans. I don't see replacing Koreans with an influx of white Americans, with an influx of Latinos, with an influx of Japanese. If the situation stayed the exact same, with the same reaction, the same situation occur. I'm going to stop talking. For the love of God, Theus, what?
No, finish what you're saying, dog.
No.
I'm trying to see where you going with this, man.
No. I have learned very long time ago. Let it go.
No, I interrupt you enough. Do your thing, man. I make my comments when it's over.
It's over. I'm done. That was my point.
You are not. Oh my God.
Yes, I am.
Can I say this? That guy is getting on my nerves. Can you find somebody else to do the narration? This guy is getting on my nerves. He's getting on my nerves.
Gets on y'all nerves. This guy makes up too. He's too enthusiastic.
He talks like this, and then he brings up points. Oh, go! I'm just thinking, Marlon, get somebody else.
Well,
James Earl Jones. I don't know. Morgan Freeman. Even though he said that stupid comment about Black History Month, somebody else. Like
you got the budget for that? You got the budget for that? James Earl Jones, Morgan Freeman.
Here is the deal.
He gets on my nerves.
Provide information.
We are
the ones who provided to make it a little more entertaining.
You found the most bland, boring.
Okay, let me rephrase it. It is amazing that the one person who does not help me not one freaking time ever on any of this research whatsoever.
This is your show, not mine.
Okay, then. There you go.
But get somebody else, because that guy's getting on my nerves.
I'm trying to find somebody who's more entertaining. Every time I find somebody,
I would go to the anybody but him card, but I feel like he could find somebody worse. So I'm not gonna say anybody but him.
I will purposely go out of my way to find somebody worse. I will purposely go out of my way to find somebody who loves information.
He brings up points that don't even make. I'm like, why did you bring that up?
But you know what? Now, Tracy, in his defense, because that was a point.
This part does factor in though, but go ahead.
But y'all kill me. All the love
Y'all
is different. Yeah, because you in this too. Man, can you find somebody who don't emphasize up here, then go down here, then emphasize up here? Then I find somebody who's steady talk. Can you find somebody that ain't boring and blah 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 and put me to sleep? Can you find somebody? I mean, what do y'all want?
Somebody but him. No, I'm not gonna say anybody but him. Again,
I'm gonna find somebody who's.
I'm giving you suggestions. I'm throwing out suggestions. That's all I'm here for.
Does nothing but Schoolhouse Rock on all the information.
Marlon, thank you for all that you do.
Thank you very much, Theas. I appreciate
But you know he don't mean it. I'm telling you as your sister, as a straight up no chaser. Because when I say it, I'm saying what I feel. He terrible.
I mean it. I mean it.
Theas, please get.
Marlon puts in hours putting this thing together.
I do.
I didn't say he didn't. I didn't say he didn't. I'm just saying
this
that
guy
dude
is
makes
definitely
me
not my favorite. He's not my favorite.
No, my last nerves.
But it is what it is.
Like, shut up.
I do. I pick Yelda because he gives the.
I'm going to interject my opinion right here. Did nobody ask you for your opinion?
No, his opinions at the end of the show, and I've never shown his opinions at the end of the show.
Yeah, what he's so I'm gonna jump in.
Please do.
So
you asked me to talk, and now you're mad that I'm talking. See?
Thank you.
I love when you two go at it, man.
You irritate me, little self. Get on my nerves.
Oh man, I needed that. So reason why I was kind of looking funny, Marlon, because I was trying to figure out where you were headed, because it really was coming across like, let me make this disclosure so none of the Asian people who might happen to see this are somehow offended and think that this is about them. And it really involves everybody. And, you know, it could have been white, it could have been Asian, it could have been Italian, it could have been that. I'm like, just call it for what the fuck it was, man. I mean, it's like, this is what happened.
I can't call it the way it is. We literally looked at a video last week where we saw the small version of the gentrification of after Hurricane Katrina, where the property value went down. They came in, swooped it up, took over, and predominantly
different dynamic
neighborhoods. I mean, but I'm saying, okay. My point was,
so no, I'm not, and this isn't a criticism of you per se. It was just that thing that has been beat into us, right? I do it sometimes, right? It's this thing that's beat into us where we have to make everybody else feel more comfortable in the space that we're talking about some jacked up stuff that happened to us, right? This is a fact, okay? In this particular scenario, it was the Korean community, but mostly it's the Korean community. But you can find it in the Chinese community. It's just that the Chinese are typically more the ones that they send over here, okay, are usually going to be more of your professional class. So you don't engage with them the same way, right? But these are not your average, you know, bedraggled, poor, desperate people, okay? I know that's the image they try to paint for you, but the people who come over here from Asia are very rarely the bottom class. Now, there are some groups who are, okay? But that's another thing too. The Asian community is massive, okay? So there's so many different layers to it. But the Korean community is the one that we see the most because they're very entrepreneurial minded when they get here. Okay. So the issue within the video that needs to be highlighted is that of all the communities to move into, you moved into ours. Now, why did you move into ours? Because there are, and he touched on it in the video, there are policy decisions put in place to keep our communities poor. So that means purchasing land is less expensive. That means getting storefront and business locations is easier if you have the money and the credit. So that's where they come. You are coming for opportunity. Fine. You're not responsible for the horrors of the lack of opportunity that is pushed on us. That's not your responsibility. Okay? What is your responsibility is how you engage with others. So you come into these communities. You do not live in these communities. You set up your shop in this community, and then you go back across the bridge, back across the water, back across wherever it is to the different side of the community that gets you as close as possible to white people, because there's not an embargo or a bar to you the same as it is to us. See, right now, white America is dealing with the consequences of 50 years of that policy. Because now the average Asian household specifically is more like Korean and Chinese and Japanese, but the three big ones, they out-earn white America now. Right? They didn't see that shit coming. They're so busy focused on us. But going back to what the video was touching on, you come into this community and the decision you make is that we will extract value from this community, but we will not add value into it. We will sell you the things that we can sell to you to extract whatever money you have, and then tell you I can't afford to hire you to sell things back to you. That's a decision. That is white supremacy being practiced by someone who's not white. So you have a community. That's why when the communities, when they have these riots and whatever, and they burn down the CVS or burn down this, and they're burning down their own community. No, the fuck they're not. Okay? They're burning stuff in the vicinity of where they live. But they don't own any of it. More often than not, they're not even employed in it. And if they are employed, it's at the lowest rungs of those businesses, so that they still can't accumulate any opportunity to do better. So you're literally seeing on TV people attacking structures in their face that are harming them. So that's why I was getting a little askance, because the Korean community, everybody can paint an argument. The Korean community was coming, they were seeking opportunity, they were building businesses, they were doing things the right way as far as that is concerned. They were hiring their own family members to bring opportunity. They were sponsoring visas to get more people out of poverty back home and bring them here. They were doing all of these things. These are the same things that I would normally advocate for within my own community. So I get that side. The problem is, how did you engage with the people whose land, quote unquote land, you landed in? Similar to the Israelis who moved into Palestine, established a new nation in the midst of Palestine, and instead of integrating themselves with the community they moved into, they sought to oppress it and extract value and punish them for not being them. This is what the Korean community did in those communities. And then what follows? So,
Theist, ray of sunshine.
I'm just trying to figure out. There's everything. My next statement has absolutely nothing to do with you. I don't want you to think that I did not listen to every single possible word that came out of your mouth. I did.
said too much anyway.
I did. I really did. But part of me was trying to figure out How the hell am I going to edit this video to extrapolate Tracy's rant out of this video while still getting this part of the video?
You talk and I said words.
You thank you. You said words.
Y'all know y'all think he's terrible. I'm not the only one that sits here and thinks
I'm
that.
talking now. Doggone, I'm already having issues trying to figure out how to edit this. Daggone it.
I know you're not telling me to be quiet. Oh no, I'll talk through the whole thing. You don't want no. Don't do that.
Okay, I won't.
How you gonna mute me?
That's the greatest thing about having your own show. You can do stuff like this. And I'm also better at StreamYard than all of y'all. Anyway, we got to get moving because we're almost up on the hour. So, me again, not knowing my history. Latasha Harris. I want to say Harris, but it's not Harris. But you'll understand what I'm saying. I always thought the 1992 LA rebellion, riot, whatever you want to call it, was because of Rodney King. Chances are,
92.
Was it 92? I thought it was 92.
Yeah, I'm asking you. You said 92, yeah, Rodney King, right?
1992.
Oh, okay.
Yes. The 1992 LA riots was because of Rodney King. And it probably very forefront was the tipping point. But it wasn't the beginning of it.
Nah, that's just what they decided to feed us.
Yes.
It was already going on.
Yeah. So let's start off with what I figured was literally the starting point of it all.
First was the murder of Latasha Harlins in 1991. Latasha Harlins was a 15-year-old black girl who was shot by Korean business owner Soon Da-doo. What happened is, on March 16th, Latasha went to Empire Liquor Store in Los Angeles to purchase some orange juice. She was in a rush and threw the $1.79 bottle of juice in her bag. Despite Harlins having the money in her hand, Do accused Harlins of stealing and grabbed her bag. After the scuffle, Harlins threw the juice bottle back on the counter, but Do shot the 15-year-old in the head. Do was arrested and put on trial. She was convicted in October 1991 by the jury based on security footage, and they recommended the maximum 16-year jail sentence for involuntary manslaughter. But the judge rejected the jury's recommendation and decided to keep Do out of prison, instead giving her 5 years probation, 400 hours of community service, and a $500 fine.
So that was the beginning.
White adjacent.
That was the beginning. That was the beginning. I read that. I listened to that story. The first thing that popped in my head was George Floyd. At what point did you figure that whatever this person did was so bad it was the time for execution?
This is closer to Mike Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was way closer to Mike
Brown. No, I don't think
he
George
was selling
Floyd, I kept hearing the whole. But remember, it was a counterfeit 20. Okay, so that was part of the reason for execution. So that was. Tell me which part.
No, I get you. No, I'm with you. You're with.
So yeah, so that was my thing. Was the $20 bill? You got to remember that the $20 bill was counterfeit. So that was part of the execution. Same thing with this. So she put the juice on the counter. She threw the juice on the counter. She threw it all over the counter. She took the lid off and poured the orange juice over the counter. Tell me what part was it for the execution.
Yeah, what y'all ain't gonna like about this right here is it's very simple. The exchange rate on black life is not very high.
No.
The exchange value, we look at it as forms of currency. The exchange value on black life is lower than that of a dog. White people will turn America upside down. You do something to some damn dogs, a lion in the zoo, or some other shit. So if we would like to see something different, gotta raise the exchange rate. And that just means, because I mean, you ask yourself, how many black lives does it take to equal the value of one white life? That been figured out yet?
No, we haven't.
Right?
Look at the numbers of the
You touch you you allegedly touch a white woman in an elevator in the 1920s and you get the Tulsa massacre. Alleged. Rosewood allegedly touched a white woman, even though that was completely fabricated. Entire community burned to the ground. Here in Atlanta, Lake Lanier, I forgot the name of the city that sat below it, that it now sits on top of. Allegedly touched a white woman. It was also false. City I live in, black man allegedly touched a white woman. I can't remember when it was. I think it was in the 40s. Proven false. But at that time, they let the people into the courthouse, to the jail, dragged the man outside, hung him right here in town, in the city square. I mean, people could say, well, that's all ancient history. Threaten a police officer, they'll kill you. There was a black boy some years back. He what did he do? I think he hit the horse, the police horse. He got 10 years in prison. You got a black man in Ferguson. This is before they murdered Mike Brown. Beat the shit out this man. Charged him with bleeding on the police officer's uniform. Locked his ass up. You got the black man who just got murdered by a bunch of black cops. For whatever reason, we finally find out that it is, or they ever finally tell us why it actually happened. Fact remains, dead. You look at George Floyd, it took murdering the man on camera, slow motion, to get even that reaction. We still don't have a crime bill coming out of that. And had Chauvin shot George Floyd, never would have got to the point it got to. Only happened because he choked that man out in broad daylight. So, and also the shop owner you were just talking about. Oh, there's another one in New York, in a project building. This is some years ago, not very far. This is in the last five or 6 years. But there was a power outage in the hallways of the project building. 2 police officers respond to the scene. They're going up the stairs. It's dark. Black man who lives there coming down the stairs. Asian police officer gets scared, shoots the man, and murders him in the stairwell. Asian community, and in a way, I can see their point. It's jacked up, but I can see their point. Basically, was saying, how can you charge this man for killing him? You wouldn't have charged him if he was white. So
yeah, they do kind of got a point.
The exchange rate just isn't high enough, and there's only one way to even that out. But it's not in us to want to do that. We literally, it's the weirdest thing. Despite all that has been done to us, we continue to love you more than you love us or yourself. We don't even ask for retribution or revenge or anything. We ask for reparations, and half of us, not even half of us, I'm sorry, probably about 20-30% of us are so fucking brain dead that they don't even want reparations because they're afraid it'll offend good old Uncle Sugar. So we just literally, as Rodney King said when they pulled him out that truck and whooped his ass, we just want to get along. Literally. You just stop whooping our ass, stop killing our children, stop warehousing our young men, stop raping our women, stop pushing our people into the lowest wage positions you can, stop underpaying our people. When you do give them a good position, you underpay them compared to their peers, though. If you would just stop doing that shit, we'd be fine. We wouldn't even ask for reparations no more, probably. I would, but we probably would let that shit drop. If you just stop fucking with us. But you can't do it because you know, in the back of your mind, in the depth of your heart, in the forefront of your politics, in that fake ass religion you claim, you know that if it was you, you would want revenge.
All right, let's move on. I think that last story was the beginning. This is Rodney King, the tipping point.
The second event was the beating of Rodney King by Los Angeles police on March 3, 1991. King was arrested for what was known as felony evading. When California Highway Patrol tried to pull him over, King kept going, and it turned into a high-speed chase involving multiple officers. The officers claimed that King was high and tried to attack them, prompting them to beat him out of self-defense. But video footage of the brutal attack showed King crawling on the ground, unable to get up. The attack left him with a fractured skull and cheekbone. The video showed that nothing about this was self-defense. The man who filmed it from his window, George Holliday, sent the footage to a local television station. Remember, this was before widespread use of the internet or camera phones. Within days, the video was on every major television network, and it sparked outrage. On March 15th, LAPD Sergeant Stacy Kuhn, Officers Lawrence Powell, Timothy Wynn, and Theodore Briseño were indicted for assault. The jury was majority white, but the officers were ultimately acquitted on April 29th, 1992, around 3 p.m. By 4:15 p.m., the uprising had started, and by 8:15 p.m., the first fatality was reported on the news. On April 30th, the uprisings moved into Koreatown, a mostly Asian American neighborhood, which ended up sustaining significant damages. The uprisings were mostly stopped on May 2nd, 1992, after the National Guard, members of the military, and the entire LAPD were deployed in South Central LA. By that time, 63 people had been killed, over 2,000 were injured, and 8,000 were arrested. 2 of the officers were eventually sentenced to 30 months in prison for violating Rodney King's civil rights. King received $3.8 million in civil damages from the city of Los Angeles, and Latasha Harlan's family received a $300,000 insurance settlement. But the damage had already been done to the community. Many felt like it was too little, too late.
It's always the same story, ain't it?
Yeah.
He fought back. He resisted arrest. He went for my gun.
Yeah. We all know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, it is becoming really sickening that if it wasn't for the fact of videotapes, none of this would have. They wouldn't have went to court. Let's just put it that way. Because we're like Thea said, we are supposed to trust the police. If the police are going to this extreme, which that is in air quotes, because you know, if you're on the bad side of thinking that nothing the cops do is an extreme, but if you do deem it as an extreme, it's redeemed, it's supposed to be. Like what Parker said, being high makes you more violent. What? No, Parker, you're using logic. It wasn't.
And you're assuming that the high part is true.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because all you're supposed to say is he was on some kind of drug. That's all that matters. The effect of the drug is totally irrelevant in the story. It is irrelevant. We have to give you a reason why we beat your ass like a dog in the middle of the street. 5-on-1.
But they're not talking to us. That's the point.
Yeah. So we have to say he was on drugs. He was it 5 or 6? I think it was 5.
No, it doesn't matter. For them, it's.
But I have to put that number out there because I've got to remember that this man who's high on drugs was launching at several different people trying to get their guns several times over. That he's evading and driving away. We finally got him. He went crazy. He was on drugs. He was trying to go after everybody's gun. And even after the video, my memory is very good about this event. Even after the video, we're going to ignore the video and we're going to go right back to the events before this video, what the video showed. Well, if he didn't run, this wouldn't have happened. Well, if he wasn't high, this wouldn't have happened. Reality speaks that if he wasn't black, this wouldn't have happened.
I mean, it's the continuation of the story. Is what I led into when we were talking in the earlier part of the segment. I really need people to understand they're not talking to us. Whenever these things are happening, they're talking to white women, right? Trying to keep them on the team. This had to happen because he's scary. This happened because he was bigger than your normal man. He was a beast, I tell you. He was like 4 grown men in one person. When that guy murdered Mike Brown, they said he was like the Incredible Hulk. When they murdered, oh man, I don't know how so many names have come through, but it's the gentleman that they murdered in New York with the chokehold and murdered him on video
with the cigarettes.
He was a big man. That is the story they've always used, going all the way to the beginning. And that's why, I mean, they say don't do this, but it's what I do. I tell my children, I tell my nieces and my nephews, the police are your enemy. Period. Point blank. You do not talk to them. You do not try to be friendly with them. You avoid them. If you cannot avoid them, you are to be polite, give them your name, my name, and my phone number. That's it.
Yep.
People say, well, you're training your children and you're training young people to be adversarial to the police. No, I'm trying to keep my children alive. Because you can't win in the street. There's no way you can fight the police, pardon me, in the streets.
Nope,
unless you're willing to go all out. So that's why, like, when I see the thing, like what happened here in Atlanta, and they said that protester shot the police first. First thing that came to my mind when they said that was Huey Newton.
Yep.
First thing came to my mind. You say he shot the police officer first. And that's why the police dropped 17 rounds or whatever the number of rounds was in this little skinny man's body. I call bullshit. You need to prove it. Oh, wait, you can't prove it because none of the witnesses will corroborate your story, and your body cams, all of your body cams happen to be turned off. All of them. So anytime the police say something happened, I call bull. They got the same level of responsibility in my book that the other person would have. Whoever you're arresting has to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that it wasn't them. That is how it happened. Well, for me to prove it, be all the way out there. I need it so clear. Ain't nothing I can do. Be like, yeah. But I was confused on one thing, Marlon. Didn't they say that the Rodney King thing happened on like March 1st or something like that?
Parker said it, and Lord knows, cause
March 3rd, 1991.
Yeah, so it's like it was before the young lady was murdered.
Yeah, she was murdered before. She was murdered after he got arrested.
Rodney King happened March 3rd, 1991. The verdict was not until April
92 until the next year.
Yeah. So, but it was all continuation. It's all the pressure that builds up. What I would like people to really focus more on is that this is about the oppression and subjugation of an entire people. We are just better treated than our Palestinian cousins. We're allowed. It's all the open air prison, right? It's not as bad as it is for the Palestinians because they're forced to exist in the Stone Ages relative to their oppressor because their apartheid system never got broken up. We are now in a soft apartheid type thing. The official segregation was ended. So we are now able to move amongst each other and amongst everything else so that when it's time to keep us in our place, they can use violence with impunity, with relative impunity. But overall, they don't focus as much on race and they focus more on economics because economics is a great surrogate because you've already pushed us into a position where economics affects roughly 70% of us. And the beautiful thing about making it about economics now is that it affects 70% of us. So the other 30% of us will pretend like it's not happening and turn on our own people because we think we made it. It's amazing what he can do.
Right. The guy didn't mention the important fact that the trial got moved to the suburbs, more white area to have a different jury that would be more likely to let off the ropes. They said the area in LA where it happened, they didn't want to select the jury from there because these people were, quote, too close to the incident.
Yep.
And the new jury and the cops were innocent.
And you notice the prosecutor and the defense attorney both agreed to that with no argument?
Because in America, you don't go up against the police because overall they do a lot of things to help protect you. This is one black man versus a system. Do we give justice to one black man and cause us to have to disrupt a system, or do we protect the system and unfortunately have to sacrifice one black man? That's the math.
And let me say this before we go into our second hour is, thank you, Anna, is I love the argument of, but you do understand that they're talking about the cops. You do understand that their lives would never be the same.
Oh, boo-hoo.
That they have to live with the understanding that they took a life, and that's something they're gonna have to live with the rest of their lives. And I've always said back to them, it's amazing how you said they have to live, as in they get to live. Doesn't seem that way on the other side.
That's that BS where people think that well, I don't have to get you, gotta get you. No, he won't.
Yeah.
A lot of people with blood on their hands grew old and died. No, I don't. And if they were cold-hearted enough to kill somebody, I don't know how disturbed their sleep is going to be.
Yeah, I think they're good. Sorry. I mean, we're literally, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to go on a tangent. They're literally, I'm not even lying about this. They're literally with cops that was fired for the same reason. For killing a black person. And they feel so shocked and so disarmed and so disarrayed that they won't go to the next county over to try to get a job.
And get the job.
And get the job. But you're so distraught. Oh, man. This is
the man who murdered the brother here in Atlanta at the Wendy's because he was sleeping in his car. They got his job back because of the technicality. Gave him his job back, gave him his gun back, put him right back on the street.
Right. So distraught. So distraught. All right, everybody. That is our first hour. We need to get into some lighter things, which is funny because I never know if my stuff is going to be lighter or not. So we're going to go ahead and take a 3-minute break to reboot and refresh. This was a good first hour, I believe. Very educational, very informative. Tracy almost
especially when Tracy put her foot in your behind.
Tracy almost took it off the rails by telling me about how she has to tell her opinion about some guy telling his opinion. But we're going to disregard all that. And we're going to go into the second hour with Am I the A-Hole and Foxy's videos of the week. Stay tuned.
Star is fast. God of our
back to the second hour. Before we even get started, if you're new here, this is where we pay the bills. Please do not forget that Radical Truth to Power is tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please do not forget that. Please don't forget to support Tracy at patreon.com/a better Tracy media page. Help support her in all her endeavors. Please do not forget to go to patreon.com/complex mind. Help support Theus in all his endeavors. Please do not forget to go to patreon.com/radical truth to power. Exactly the way it's spelled, capital R, capital T, capital T, capital P. Help support me in all my endeavors. Please do not forget to go to Anna Hart's website, Borelli, etc. Exactly the way. Learn something that you didn't think you need to know, but you should. And as always, if you want to drop me a line, you can always do so at radtp@outlook.com. That's radtp@outlook.com. Almost.
I think you did well.
You know what threw me off? This is the first time at the 3-minute break I didn't move from this chair. Like I didn't have nothing to do. Like, do you got to go to the? Nope. You got to go get something to drink? Nope. Do you need to go get another cigar? Nope. I'm like, okay, I'll just sit here. So,
yeah, I should have got up and went to the restroom, but I'm sitting here trying to.
Why you have
tomorrow
to
I'm going
all
to
this
be
information? We don't need to know when you.
human
it's a
function.
natural thing.
I don't need to hear about it.
Well, mute yourself then. Take your headphones off. I don't know what to tell you.
But
And I said party.
I'm gonna go looking at some flooring and stuff tomorrow. So I'm like drawing out like the full layout of my garage. You can't see that, but so when I go in there, I can ask the people about my idea that I came up with as a water diversion.
We got several projects going on in this house all at the exact same time because I'm married to Foxy. So we already done rearranged the shelving over the washer and dryer to the point where we can literally put another family on over the washer and dryer now. Um, Now we're going to rearrange. We have almost a miniature island where our sink is in the kitchen. So what part of it is in the dining room, then the other part, of course, is in the kitchen. So she's gonna put shelving under that for more storage. Then we're taking up all the carpet off the I'm taking up all the carpet off the stairs to expose the wood, and then I'm gonna stain it to match the hardwood that we got downstairs. So, yeah. Now she's not here because she had a dinner date. So, as a good husband, I cleaned the kitchen, set the coffee, and made the bed, so she won't have absolutely nothing to do when she gets home.
You should do that all the time.
You out of your ever
Dinner
loving
date.
You out of your ever loving mind.
Yeah,
'Cause
with
that
one of
ain't
her
happening
girlfriends,
today.
a dinner date.
That ain't happening. No.
Women can have dinner dates.
So you get to go out and I got to play Cinderella?
Cinderella did get to go to the ball.
I don't like that.
Susan, my wife has this thing. It's an affliction. It's a disease. It's an illness. There cannot be an open space of nothing. If she sees an open space anywhere, upstairs, downstairs, bedroom, kitchen, living room, dining room, it doesn't matter. Something got to go there.
Oh, she should come to my house then. I have nothing. Boy, she would love me. Boy, she love my house. Like, look, I got nothing.
There cannot be an open space in this house. And it's been like that for years. It has to be an open space. Now, granted, it has to be organized. So it ain't like hoarder.
Oh, she's not a hoarder. Oh.
No, it has to be so there's a space, like I was saying, that's in the dining room that's under a little outlet or whatever. He sees that open space. So hey, let's use that open space for, as you said, Susan, storage. Of what? I don't know. Let's go buy some stuff so we can store it.
She would love my place because I have nothing in the whole house.
You obviously don't have ferocious, hungry cats, Marlon. You have pets. It's too late now. I wanted a dog, but I don't even want one. I don't even want a dog now. I just,
Still want a dog. I'm so mad. I want to. You know what? I want a dog because I want a dog. But now I want a dog so it can scare these damn cats off my yard. I'm sick of
Oh
them
yeah, he
damn
gonna go.
cats.
here we go.
I'm sick of them.
You know
Look,
that's gonna
I don't.
happen.
Look. I think this is gonna sound terrible. Hey, cat people, I'm sorry, but if you are a cat person that lets your cats out the house, you're an asshole. Now, if you have cats and you keep them in your house, you are a wonderful person. Because cats they're cool. They good little pets. They got personalities. They make really cute sounds. They're like they're cool pets. I'm not a cat person, but they all right. I ain't got nothing against them in your house.
But they can't stay in the house all the time. They gotta get
The
outside
dog can.
sometime.
The dog
No,
can.
you
The
should let
dog.
them
The
out
dog got to go
too.
out
You
sometime.
The
can't
dog.
just
What's the
keep
Well,
your
yeah.
pets
matter?
But wait.
inside like
Then
that.
take your cat out
No.
on a leash. Then take your cat out
On
on a
a
leash.
li-
Then if I gotta take my dog out on a leash, you can take your cat out on a leash. Look,
And
if
some,
your argument is the cat needs to go outside, then take it outside. But take it outside in a way that doesn't make the rest of the neighborhood deal with your cat.
Can you take the dog?
That's
Can you
your
take the
cat.
cat out to your own? This
Wait a
is my
minute,
deal
somebody's
about
got
any animal.
feedback.
This is the thing about any animals, any pets whatsoever. This is always my thing. Yes, they got to go out, and obviously I'm talking to people who have a house. Um, yeah,
For
a house.
apartments too.
Well, I'm talking about house people who have pets though. If they
Mm-hmm.
got to go out, you have a backyard. Use that. And here's my thing why I said what I said. If you don't let them out of your backyard because of X, Y, Z, so instead of your yard being messed up, torn up, you don't want that crap in your backyard and blah, 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 and everything else. So you know that your animal is capable of doing that stuff. So you rather walk them around the neighborhood so they can do it everywhere else. You're an asshole. Sorry, not
Well,
sorry.
everybody
That
agree with that.
you literally just told me your property is more important than everybody else's property.
That's what
And that,
class is
that's
that
that ain't
for.
even true. You're saying that your backyard property is more important than everybody else's property.
I'm like this here, man. Look, I'm a nice person. I like animals. That's the only reason I ain't killing these damn cats.
There's
So
no reason, but
here's
okay.
what about to happen.
You know what they
I'm
say
about
about
nah, because
people
I'm
that
wrong.
kill
I'm wrong.
animals.
I'm wrong if I kill the cat. I'm wrong if I kill the cat,
Yes,
right?
you really
E-
are.
Even though the cats can go around killing all the birds and then everybody and everything. But anyway, I'm wrong killing the cat. Okay,
You
cool.
are.
I won't kill your cat. That's why I haven't, right? Plus, I think they're kind of cute. I just mad that they out here in my yard because they scaring my wife because my wife don't like animals, right? You always scared that as soon as you open the door, one of the little dumbasses is gonna run into your house. Now you got to spend however long to get it back out the house. And if it's been living outside, now you got fleas that you got to get out your house for a cat that's not even yours. So I'm tell you what I'm gonna do, folks. I'm gonna get them cages and I'm gonna capture your cat and I'm gonna take it to the Humane Society, which I don't like the idea of because they gonna kill your cat.
You know, they usually
Ain't
find
nobody
other
adopting a
people to
grown ass
adopt.
cat. Ain't nobody adopting a grown ass cat. So now your little fluffy that you should have kept in your
Fluffy.
house, he about to go over here and live in on death row because you decided that it was more important for you to feel good about letting your cat sow his wild oats and chase birds and squirrels and whatever you think happens out there. Get your cats, folks. Get your cats. I'm tired of your cats. And then I know people say, but they eat the things that you don't want to deal with. I agree. That's one of the reasons I like cats, right? Because they will go and they'll go chase mice or whatever. I ain't never seen a mouse in our neighborhood, but they're rodents. They could be anywhere, right? Okay. We got snakes. Let the snakes get them.
All I gotta say is it's cats and then it graduates to people.
I don't understand.
I don't even get that one.
Y'all know most serial killers, they always start off by killing animals, then they just keep going and keep going and keep going.
Oh, that's the
Got me fucked up.
I ain't talking about torturing an animal.
Jesus!
I mean, it's like I'm going to I could kill your cat, but I didn't want to. I'm like, okay, you did it enough.
What in the world is wrong with you tonight?
First of all, I out of everybody on this panel, I am the one who have told you I am not nonviolent. I'm telling you that the only reason that you not having, the only reason I ain't known as the cat killing guy is because I don't want to kill no animal. I don't want to. I love animals.
Okay, that's good, because I thought you were saying the opposite. I'm like, wait a minute, this don't sound right.
No, I love animals. I hate an animal that's not mine in my yard.
Serial killers.
But they do
She
start
done
off
made
like
me
that.
Jeffrey Dahmer or something out here.
They do start off like they start off with animals and then they graduate to people.
Got me fucked up.
Y'all just don't study right. Just watch
I
any
guess
documentary.
I got to get off of this. Am I the a-hole? Good gracious.
So Tracy's neighbors at her new house, I need y'all to just randomly get some cat food and dishes, line them up around her house. She don't have no problem with the cats being over there. She will be able to feed all your cats.
I fed strays before.
You know,
you're part of the problem.
One of my things that
but
I've always said was
we'll see if you maintain that when they all at your house.
What was going to make me a very humble person if the time and date that I become very rich off of whatever makes me very rich, what's going to make me humble is that I would have the sense of humor to do just as what Thea said. That I would have the money to fly out to Indianapolis, buy as much cat food as I possibly can.
And I still be like,
I'll be a trench, not dishes, a trench, a long trench. Pour it all in the while she's at work.
I work at home, so you're not gonna. I work from home, so
no matter. I'll just pour it anyway. And when you come to the door and look at me, I'll just look back up at you and smile.
Yep. Go to Sam's Club.
I still feed strays
and get you a really good deal on a whole lot of the good stuff.
They're hungry. They need food.
Oh, I'll get the good stuff. Anyway,
they may be hungry. They may need food. They need to go home and get it.
But they may not have a home to go to.
They do now.
Well, then they're going to be going somewhere because they can't be coming to my house. I did not invite you. You are not a wild animal. You are a domesticated animal that is wandering around.
Y'all be ashamed of yourselves. Y'all ran Anna off and then y'all don't even worry about it.
I figured she had to do something.
Anyway, this right here is the most complicated, if not the worst relationship I've ever heard of.
I met my girlfriend on Tinder, and we weren't exclusive to begin with. We get along great, and I thought that we had a future. She got pregnant, and we were kind of excited to start a family. When the baby was born, it was very obviously not mine. I did not sign the birth certificates. I also didn't break up with her. but I also told her that I would not be making myself financially responsible for the baby. We had planned for her to take a year off work to be with the baby. She had already taken her maternity leave. I said that she needed to go after the father for child support. She didn't want to because they were friends. I said I understood, but in that case, she had to take full financial responsibility for the kid. I would help her with all the child rearing, like changing diapers and feelings and all the like, but not pay for any of it. She agreed. She ran through her savings in about 6 months. She talked to me about helping her with baby formula and stuff, and I said no, that's not our agreement. She called the baby daddy and asked for money, and he gave her a few $1,000s to pay for baby stuff, but told her not to contact him again. That's when she really understood their friendship. So she went after him for child support. His fiance found out about the whole thing and is thinking of breaking things off. The child support is enough that the baby will be well taken care of and it won't affect the finances. He called her crying because we messed up his life. He said that I could easily afford to take care of them and that I'm the bad guy for dragging his life through the mud. She feels terrible about it and blames me for not just stepping up. I love my girlfriend and the baby, and I have no problem raising the baby. But I don't think that I should be held financially responsible when the father has resources and tried to evade responsibility. So, am I the bad guy?
What the
You
bleep
the
is wrong with
smartest
people?
dumbass I've ever seen in my life.
What the heck? What?
Just so smart, you're stupid.
Oh my gosh, I can't with these people. This has got to be. This isn't real. Wait a minute. Is there
it
more?
ain't no second part.
Is there more? Because
there's not more.
it hasn't been one in a while. I'm like, is there more?
I know there's not. For some reason, the ones that the guy that comes on, it's called the best of, and that's always when you get the update immediately after the story. Not been very good lately, so I haven't been able to get any good ones. But anyway, with this one, y'all go ahead.
He told her she stayed with this man. She should have done both of them, the friend and the man. Girl, get you somebody else.
This is the problem you have, Tracy?
No, she stayed. I'm not gonna help with the. I'm not gonna help take care of the baby. I'm just gonna be in the baby's. I'm just gonna change the baby's diaper, be in the child's life, but finance, that's not my responsibility.
Hell no.
What?
Hell no. Because Tracy, here's what happened. Tracy, here's what happened. Because this is why I say he was smart, but he's still a dumbass. Because he should have exited the situation.
Now that part I agree.
The part that he's smart about is because in America, if this thing goes to court, he can become liable for that child, even though it's clear it's not his, because he has taken on the role of provider and father. So that's why he's doing it, because he could be locked into, this is a girlfriend. You know, I already know how I feel about girlfriends, but this is a girlfriend. She could dump him 2 months from now, and he will still have an 18 to 20-year commitment to a child he did not make. So he's smart on that part. It is unfair, but the courts will say this is about the best interest of the child.
Yep.
So the best interest of the child is that the child not be destitute. So the first place she's supposed to go is the biological father. However, you have someone who's in the household who has taken on the role. So the court will attach first to the one who is in the household over the one who is biologically responsible because you've already assumed responsibility. So he was already trying to walk a tightrope anyway.
He should have just left. He would have been better off with her. Because she stayed with him. I wish I would. Oh, no. Oh, no.
I'm still tripping off. You always take the woman's side. She stayed with him.
You do.
And why wouldn't I?
Really
and the problem is what?
Because you don't care if they're right or wrong. You worse. It's interesting, Tracy.
Okay, here we go.
What'd you say, Anna? Anna said something I didn't hear her.
I said because sometimes women fuck up.
Yeah.
I didn't say she didn't make a mistake. All I'm saying was, as soon as the words came out of his mouth, I'm not financially taking care of you. Bye. It was kind of like, what if I wanted to?
And
Nah,
that's fine.
bye.
And that's fine.
Good
But I'm
riddance.
going to
Why
go ahead
didn't
and
she
I'm going to
break
go
up
ahead
with
and answer
him?
your question on
She
all of
should
this.
have. She
I'm gonna
should have
answer
broke
your
up with him.
question
That's
on all
my.
of this. I'm answering your
No,
question
I'm talking
on all
about.
of this. Every person in this story is an a-hole.
True. Now that
Every
part I agree with you
person.
with.
No,
There is not one over the
She
other.
is. They
No,
weren't exclusive.
no. I'm gonna go all the way down.
I agree with Warren on that one.
I'm gonna go all the way down to every person in this story is an a-hole. Number one, let's go with the friend. Off the bat, dude, you pay child support. We ain't gonna go with this whole paying thousands of dollars and don't bring it up anymore because you automatically thought to yourself that I'm gonna move on with my life and pretend that I do not have a child out there that I helped create. So I can marry, live well, and go on with my life. That ain't how life works, dude. Get over yourself. Number two, and I'm still talking to the friend. Your fiance is thinking about leaving you because they found out that you pay child support. No, bro, your fiance is thinking about leaving you because you hid this part of your life from her.
True.
And that is effed up. And she can't trust you because, you, as always, if you're hiding this, you're hiding more things. It may not be true that you're hiding more things, but in her mind, if you're willing to hide another human being that you helped create, what else are you hiding? You're the a-hole. Let's move on to the mama. Trying to find a title for the mama.
You done skipped a whole portion, Marlon.
What whole
They,
portion?
they were
I just did
exclusive.
one whole portion.
They did this whole friends with benefits thing. I'm like, that's where y'all messed up in the first place.
Hey, you know
but
what?
none of them were exclusive. So
No, they weren't inclusive.
Right.
Number two, let's move on to the baby mama. Baby mama, your first and foremost, your whole mission, your whole goal, your whole thing that you do from this point on, since having the baby, is what's best for the child. F your friendship. What the hell was you thinking? Because clearly, was you still thinking about being friends with a person who gave you $1,000 and said beat it? Did it take that point? Obviously, yes. Because this is what it sounds like to me. This is literally what it sounds like to me. That the guy never thought about doing jack squat with you until you asked him. It took you asking, can you give me some money to help raise, take care of your child that you helped create? Here's $1,000. Talk to you later. That's when you figure out the equivalent of being friends. No, we ain't got to worry about.
I don't care if it was $2 million.
It should take you asking.
I don't know. 2 million might. I'll walk off with 2 million.
I don't know about
No.
2 million. Yeah, well, you.
Me and the baby gonna be just fine.
We right now.
Y'all cost to raise children?
Not 2
I
million.
do. I will skip off with 2 million.
I would jet for 2 mil.
Well, y'all got to pray because I'm like, I don't care how much money it is.
I would change that child first name. But anyway, the point is, so, mama, you the a-hole. You put your friendship in quotations over the welfare of your child. Boyfriend, using that term really loosely.
I thought we had a future.
You had every right whatsoever to say what you said. I am not financially responsible for this child. Theus has told you that the courts is going to see that absolutely different. So, my question to you, and I hate to be this very rough with what I'm going to say right here, but I can't think of no better way of saying it. Dude, how good was the sex that you decided that you was gonna stick with a girl who you figured out that that child wasn't yours, but you gonna stick with her, but you ain't gonna pay nothing?
He probably ain't had no other cookie.
Exactly. Sorry, but
Yeah,
yeah,
his first piece of
that
cookie. He didn't know
literally
what to do with himself.
doesn't make any sense whatsoever. What you just did, it literally, beyond a shadow of a doubt, makes absolutely no sense at all. And I wrote down something that you said, boyfriend, that was hilariously funny. That the after the friend, is there a reason why we looking at Tracy's crotch? What is going
No, I
on?
let the computer down. Sorry. I'm still here.
That's better.
I mean, yeah.
I'm back. Sorry.
So the part that you said, and I made sure that I write it down so I wouldn't forget it. So now the baby daddy is paying it where it wouldn't affect our finances. Who the hell is our? Did you not just say you wasn't paying for Jack Squad?
Yeah, he just said that. Make up your
No,
mind, dude.
no, no. That's not what he said. Not what he said.
What did he
Anna,
say?
you're muted. I think.
Oh, she was just
The baby. He said he was not going to give any money to the baby's care. He didn't
Yep.
say he was going to stop putting into the house.
Yep.
But the baby lives
He
in the house.
yes, and if you
So
think
does he?
about this in a
but wait
purely
a minute. But if you said that it wasn't it affected our finances,
Or
yes,
y'all ain't exclusive in the
he
first
can put
place.
money into the household all he want to. So that's totally two different things. Putting money in the household and putting money in the baby is two different things. It is not our finances. So you don't need to be talking about he's paying enough child support so it doesn't affect our
no,
finances.
it
Our
makes sense,
finances is
Marlon. Marlon, it makes sense. Here's how it makes
okay.
sense. Okay, now on a practical level, it doesn't make sense because it's stupid. Okay, but on a pure lines of reasoning, here's how it makes sense. We had an open relationship. You got pregnant with another party. I will not hold that against you because I can't. You did cheat on me. It was a consequence of decisions you made. Wish you had made different decisions, but it's a decision you made. And I still care for you. I still want to see where this thing is going. And we maybe now we need to actually be exclusive so we can eliminate all this other craziness. But you are the one who made the decision that ended up with you being pregnant. So you address that. That means you are responsible for all financial aspects of your decision. What I will continue to do is be a good boyfriend and be a good person. That means I'm still helping on the rent, I'm still helping on the bills, still helping on the groceries. Everything I was doing before, I will continue to do.
And if the baby needs to,
And
oh well.
and I'll help you with the kid as far as interpersonal things. But financially, I do not want to be saddled with that risk. So you need to manage that. What we don't know, which is part of this whole equation, was with her being strained on that level, he may have picked up some more level of financial responsibility outside of what was designated for the child. So when she gets child support, it brings her back to a level to where she's now able to to help on a more equal level. So I'm saying if you're really just looking at it like writing on a chalkboard, sense. But there's no way that you can manage long term with that weird construct. It just can't hold up, right? Hey, we were going to the park, but Billy said he wanted ice cream, and I told him I couldn't do it because the mama didn't give me any money. You really gonna do that, dog? No, what you gonna do is you're gonna buy Billy some damn ice cream. So it's like it in your brain you doing this because what you're trying to
Yeah,
do is
but
you're trying to force a weird situation into something else.
yeah, you're not gonna be financially responsible. You mean to tell me if that baby don't got formula and you got the money? Oh no, not formula. No, sure not. No, you would. I have zero
But Tracy, the
children,
point
and
he's
I
making.
would never
Jersey
do that.
Wells, welcome. We appreciate you tuning
Hello.
in to
Hello.
watch.
But the point he's
Recall LA
making is
Rise
that
was a wake up call for America. Sorry, I just want to welcome.
no, but the point he's making is do not make this my responsibility. So there may be times that he buys some formula. There may be times he buys a kid a little cute outfit because he saw it when he went to the store. But what he does not want to have happen is he is now viewed as a financial custodian of this child. And the only way to avoid that is for the biological to be the parent of record paying child support. That's the only way he can avoid it.
But didn't you
Because
just
so
say
long as
if they went to court and if the girlfriend and the boyfriend is living together, they're gonna take his income and he can say, well, he's living in the house, so I don't have to pay that much.
that's only if she's not getting child support.
Yeah.
The fact that she did ultimately get child support has established who the biological and custodial
But
father
if she
is.
marries him, couldn't the douchebag dad take her
No,
back to court?
absolutely not. And
Nope.
Tracy, I see where you get confused at. So here's this deal. We're going to look at the a-holery instead of fair practices, okay? Let's say that the girlfriend decides to take this friendship a little further.
Yeah, and they get
And
married.
let's say she decides I'm just not willing to go after him for child support. Now let's just take the a-holery one step further and go, but the boyfriend that lives with me, who I figure has more money than anything that I can get from the friend anyway, I'm gonna take child support out on him. Now you would think, oh no, wait a minute, we got the biological child. After a certain amount of time, they're going to combine financial and stability for that child.
That's
So
messed
we
up.
got two things. We got two things now. We're not going by financial or responsibility. And, well, no, let me take that back. And responsibility. Responsibility, financial, and stability. Who has the financial? If the boyfriend makes more money, she can go after him. And that's what the court's going to take into account. Stability. Who do the child really knows? The biological dad or the boyfriend who's been staying in that house all this time? The responsibility. Who's been doing the most responsible thing? And listen to what I'm saying before. Listen to how I'm saying this. Who is responsible? It takes no more than I would do everything else, like change diapers, feed the child, things like take the baby out for a walk. In other words, you've taken responsibility of the care for this child. That negates biological tenfold.
And the only way to avoid it is for the other person, the biological, for him to be on child support. Because you need something that says, I am taking responsibility for this child.
Well, let's just say if
Right?
he did, I'm putting in stuff that don't happen.
No,
If the two of them get married, because what I'm thinking, I'm hearing y'all saying,
Yep.
it's not making a lot of sense to me. If the two of them get married, the biological dad couldn't say, "Hey, I don't have to pay child support because he's
Absolutely
assuming
not.
responsibility."
Absolutely not.
What?
he's already
Okay.
on it. His
Because
responsibility to his
here's the deal.
child never ended.
Okay, I got that part.
You're looking at finance and not responsibility.
No, I get the responsibility part, but I'm just talking about he couldn't, because I've heard of some cases where the biological dad has taken the mom back to court and said, well, she got married, so I shouldn't have to pay.
Yeah, I'm sure it
Where
has.
it can happen, is one, if he signs over his rights and the other father adopts, or if he signs over his rights and the mom just takes full period and lets him off. That's one way. Another way is if his income is lower than her income to such a degree that it ain't gonna much matter. Maybe then he can get off. But that other spouse, their money is in no way encumbered by that relationship. So that other spouse could make $1 million a year.
And the other dad still got to pay child support, which makes
Other
sense
because
because
it's still his kid.
Yeah.
it's still
Now
your
there are
child.
courts who might say, there are courts who may actually say, you know what, the gap is so huge here,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
but you will be stripped of your rights.
Well, I mean, I don't know about the strip of your rights, but I have heard where the wage gap is so huge between, and I'm going by Tracy's story, if they get married, and the wage gap is so huge. You married to a millionaire, and the guy, the biological father, is a manager at McDonald's. So it's like, even though, yeah, I get it. Now, granted, we got to remember, this is America. What I'm going to tell you is so few and far between, but it has happened where the courts can look at it as, dude, your money is not going to do absolutely nothing
Yeah, that's
for
what I'm thinking.
the,
He would have to make
the
so.
If I was the judge in that scenario, I would still have you paying child support. What I would do though is I would order the child support to go into a custodial account so that that money is being set aside for whatever that future purpose is,
oh
because
no,
it's
I
not
would
needed
stop.
for
I
his
would
living
stop the child
expenses now.
support.
And
I
the
would.
reason I say this, is because yes, the mother has married up, or the mother has exploded her own income
Yeah, like
to
she
the
get a
point,
humongous raise, or she
right?
go to med school, or she
She could
starts.
be a she could have been studying to be a doctor, and now she's a surgeon, right? Anything, whatever the reason, right? But that child, right, is living off of her money or the new family's money. I get that. But that family could get divorced.
That's
She could
true.
lose her job. There's so many things that could still happen, and that child is still part of your responsibility. So I'm sorry that 20% of your income is $500 a month, but you still, maybe we can work you down some. Maybe instead of paying 20% and she agrees to it, we bring it down to 10%. I don't know,
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
you should pay
I
there's
don't
something.
think it's
Yeah,
going to end.
you.
I literally don't think it's going to end child support. I just said I just thought it would lower it.
Yeah,
Like,
because
Your
I
Honor,
have heard
you
of
do
fathers
understand
taking.
that my income is not going to have any effect on this child's welfare whatsoever. But I don't.
yeah. I
But at
mean,
the same time, I have to
Britney
be
Spears
honest.
had a kid with a backup dancer. So I mean, come on.
Yeah, I would never. I would never sit here and say, okay, well, you married into a rich family, so you don't have to pay any child support, because I'm true to the belief that uh, still your child. Are you willing to
Yeah,
sign off on your parental rights? No, you can't have it both ways. You can't keep
but
your parental rights and not pay for it. So
but
Him or her, yep.
him or
here's the
her.
thing, though. I would say, um, we're dealing with extreme outliers for the examples that we're talking about right now. And then also, I do recoil at the concept that your rights to your child is tied to money. I do recoil at that. I don't
Oh well,
like
yeah.
that,
That's horrible.
right? So, because that'd be like, if you're unemployed during the time that you're unemployed, do you now lose access to your child?
No,
You're behind in child support. Do
no,
you now lose access to your child? So
no.
it's like, that has to be decoupled. But the fact that you are this child's biological, you should be helping for that child's welfare. Now, I imagine if we get into the scenarios we're talking about where it's so exploded, then maybe they would let you off for the financial piece. I don't know. But I would say in that case, it needs to not maybe go to the parent and it should be set aside for the child, and the child do whatever the hell they want to with it when they get to be grown. I
No,
mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
you
was
can't
I was more or
attach
less
visitation to
saying to
child support.
myself,
That's tacky.
yeah, because this has been so toxic in, and I'm sorry, but I have to admit this is more of a male dominated issue than female dominated issue. That yeah, that there is a connection between income and visitation with your child. It shouldn't be. It's not. It is no way, shape, or form law of any way, shape, or form. Men have rights to be with their child on a
Absolutely.
very decent amount of time. And I say decent. None of what I'm saying is connected to finance. Now, I don't know what the situation is that you're behind on child support. Not my thing to say, because it could be
Well, for
something
one thing, it could be
terrible.
too aggressive.
Yeah, it could be something terrible. It could be you lost your job. It could be absolutely anything. But the finances and your right to be in your child's life is totally two different things. It if
Yeah.
you actually put in, she took out child support, which she has every right to do. It is the right thing to do. But men, you also need to put in there visitation rights too, at the exact same time. At the exact
Yeah.
same time, in the front of
I
that exact same judge.
I have long held to this particular opinion, and it's an unfortunate opinion, and I get it, but this is my opinion, and I've had this since I was in high school. Men, you need to take your bloodline and your name more seriously. You need to value who you are and what you have to offer this world more than a good time. If you would do that, you would take better care of who could possibly get pregnant from having sex with you. This is not to exonerate the woman or whatever. I don't give a damn about her. I'm talking about you, fellas. You should love yourself and your bloodline and your name enough to protect it. Now, you chose not to. You and her engaged in consensual sex. A baby came out of this situation. Now you need to step up. But if you remember from way back, I always talk about each decision changes the options that you get to choose from as you move along. Best way to protect your rights, fellas, is one, don't have a child before you're ready to have a child. That's one. But things happen. Two, marry her. Hear me out. Why are you having sex with someone that you wouldn't want to be with long term anyway? Because once that baby comes, you stuck with her ass anyway. One way or another, you stuck with her. So think ahead, plan ahead. But I say marry her because that protects your rights to that child. It is a hard thing to get your rights taken away from you when you were married to her before that baby was born. Just letting you guys, I'm just putting you in on game, fellas. All right. Now you choose not to do that. Cool. Because I'm not saying marry somebody you ain't supposed to be with. But now your options change. Now you don't have that level of protection. You got to go through the court system to protect your rights, homie. So now you got to deal with those options. It's going to be supervised visitation. It's going to be weekend visitation. It's going to be some weirdness that the court is going to impose upon you. But these are the selected options that you have now made available to yourself. And ladies, you're on the opposite side of this coin. Have more value for yourself. Have more valuable for your bloodline. Have more value for your family. Why are you just laying with somebody and not making sure you got protection? The baby comes. Now you got to figure out what to do. Should have thought that shit out first. So it just take ownership of the decisions you make and then make the best decisions from the consequences that follow.
Foxy's
Message.
Foxy's videos of the week. So, this first video is important. I want to emphasize this because I am so sick and tired of checking the freaking background of the people that I put on this show before I show them. It is not the person, it's the message. I want y'all to pay attention to the message, not the person. Because I'm not going to.
Is he wearing the ascot?
No.
Or is he wearing the dashiki?
No. God, I do want him to stop doing that because, dude, stop doing that. I don't even know what the hell that even means. But anyway, now I'm getting off on a tangent. The message. I want you to pay attention to the message because I have been preaching this many times on this show. I haven't brought this up in a long time, but this is the message that I have been preaching on this show. If the subject comes up, there is a difference, a huge difference between being pro-life and anti-abortion. There is a freaking difference. Roland Martin explains it specifically.
Man, did Roland Martin just give the coldest distinction between being anti-abortion versus pro-life?
There are, when we talk about aborting babies, like, so you're saying to me that because we support life, actually giving babies the opportunity to live, I'm confused. I'm so confused.
First of all, hold up. You're confused because you think I'm saying something that I'm not.
Well, tell me what you're saying.
What I'm telling you, I'm being very clear. You cannot say you are pro-life when you vote against prenatal care for the mother. You cannot say you are pro-life when you vote against Head Start. Right. You cannot say you are pro-life when you do not want to expand Medicaid to keep hospitals open. You cannot say you are pro-life when you have OBGYNs who are not available in your state. You cannot say you are pro-life when you have black women who are dying at a higher rate during childbirth and you do nothing public policy-wise to fix it. You cannot say you are pro-life if you allow infant mortality rates to be sky high in areas where there are black and brown people. What that tells me is you are anti-abortion. You are not pro-life. Right. Because if you are pro-life, you care about the child in the womb and when the child is out. And if you are pro-life, you are standing there with black folks when their kids are killed by cops. You are not silent. So if you are pro-life, be pro-life from the womb to the tomb, but not just in the womb. Okay.
That's an example of a wrong clock being right twice a day.
That's all I've been saying for the longest time. I am so sick and tired of you sitting here saying that you're pro-life. You're not pro-life because as soon as the child is born, what's the first thing you do? You cut off every single opportunity for them to even have a fair life.
I'll put it like this.
Have it. Every single time that you even try, you cut it off from them. You sit here making more time to try to figure out how you can save money for free lunch at schools.
No, that's a giveaway program.
Cut.
Basically
over and over again. You are so determined to have that child born and then turn around to the parent and go, "That's your responsibility. It's on you now."
When the baby is in the womb, correction. When the fetus is in the womb, that's all our business. When the baby is born, that's your problem.
That's yours.
That's basically what they're saying. And the funniest thing is they love to frame it, and I know I do this every show, but they love to frame it through fake religiosity.
Yep.
Because they say that God says, I knew you while you were yet in your mother's womb. And they say that because you have a heartbeat, you are now alive. And so we must protect life at that point. The contradiction in all of this is, do you not, either you believe in God's providence in protecting life or you do not. Because if you're going to say that this life must be protected because God knew it when it was yet in the womb, then that means God was looking over this life. God is the author and the finisher, as we say. So then God is already predetermined if this child is to be born. So either you don't trust your God, or you might be weaponizing your religion to bully somebody else. Gotta be one of those, And then, yeah, the classic, you're not pro-life, you're pro-birth, right? We know that that's what it's really about. And it's so dark and it's so horrible. And what's going to ultimately happen, I will place a guess that between 4 and 12 years, a version of Roe v. Wade will come back. But it will take that amount of time because you need the horror story. See, we already have some horror stories, but it's not hit a critical mass. You need more people to suffer and die before it gains enough mass to revisit this thing. And it's sick and it's heartbreaking. Right? And then, like what Roland was saying, first of all, Roland, stop yelling at everybody. But anyway, as Roland was saying, and this is what I was, and Marlon, we were saying this before too. If you're serious about your position, I'm going to make a video. I'm going to make a What If Theist Runs for Congress, and I'm going to talk about abortion. Because I am not what you would call pro-abortion. I am not a clean-cut pro-choice, right? In your most absolute term. I would like there to be far less abortion. I would love to get abortion as close to zero as you can get it without mandating it. See, I would like for you to place things in it out there so that for those who are seeking to keep their child or place their child for adoption, there are viable options for them. I would like a lot of the things that Roland pointed out. And if we would be serious about those things, it would reduce abortion. But we're not serious. We don't want to convince, we want to command. And that's the problem to me.
And all I've been saying for the longest time, I'm not pro-abortion. I am pro mind your own damn business a lot more than I am anti-abortion. Sorry, anti-abortion. I'm more pro mind my own damn business than anti-abortion. Whether you have this child or don't, whether you have it or not, it's the same thing as gay marriage. Don't fucking affect me one way or the other. Really don't. It just don't. It don't affect me at all. And if you open up the options for somebody to have a baby, the options to be able to take care of the baby, you may see a swing, but you don't. You're pro-life, but you're not pro-living. Because the
Yeah, and
pro-living,
it really,
they're on their own. That's all my point is. Once the baby is born, your job is done. Let's move on to the next mother.
whenever I try to have a conversation with these conservatives, because it's always from the conservative side of this argument, I always ask them, I'm like, what part of what you're pushing, like, how does it line up with Jesus's teaching? Help line that up for me. And they can never do it. On almost any subject, they can't do it because they're acting in direct contradiction to the Savior that they claim. Jesus, but first of all, I find a distinction between Medicare for all and universal health care. Okay, so I'm for universal health care. I'm not necessarily for Medicare for all, but I'll take Medicare for all if we can't get to the universal health care, right? Because we're moving in the right direction.
Well, they're
But
the same thing, though.
they're not the same thing. They're not.
They're not the same thing.
You're using the term Medicare, and then you're saying,
that's because it's just
I want Medicare, but they mean something different.
Yeah,
But in
Medicare
back on the subject.
Is a plan.
Back on the
But
subject.
I get it. But
we're talking about free health care. You're for free health care for everybody.
I'm for universal health care.
Oh, okay.
Still a distinction from free health care, but I gather. But what I'm saying is, Jesus was healing people who never had. I'm sorry?
You want everybody to have the same access to the plans?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. What was it that you actually wanted when you say universal?
So universal health care would, in a nutshell, would be like your group health plan that you get on your job or whatever. It's just that it's paid for through your taxes. So it's like a PPO network. You go to whatever doctor you want to go to that takes whatever plan that you chose, because you're choosing different options. I don't care how you structure that part of it, but I want it to be where you pay your deductible, you pay your co-pays or whatever if they apply, but everyone, because you're a citizen, you have this thing and it's easily accessible to you. The problem I have with Medicare for all is that Medicare is a complicated program in and of itself, and it has some problems. So if we're going to do it, then I would rather you just open it up, right? So it becomes single payer, but it's not Medicare, right?
I think, where you're getting confused, and a lot of people do it. When we say Medicare for all, we're just using it as a generic term because most people know that Medicare, when you hit 65, Part A is free. It's just a term that we use. But we mean, when I say Medicare for all, I mean single payer, I mean universal.
Elaborate on that, Susan.
I get that's what they may mean, but words have value. So you're using something that presently exists.
Yes.
Right? If you were just saying universal healthcare, I think that is a term we can all grasp, and then we can debate how it's made, right? We can debate how we put it together, right? That's fine, because universal healthcare, single payer, to me, those two come together, right? Because you're just basically saying, I want healthcare that every citizen has access to, and private industry is no longer playing middleman. Right? Let the doctors who studied, who are specialists in this thing, get back to caring for patients, and let the government have whatever oversight committee they need to have to make sure they're not being ripped off. But That's where it goes. Get the middleman out who's second guessing the professional, right?
Oh,
I'm with you.
yeah,
But
yeah.
Medicare
I'm used to it
is
by now.
so complicated.
Oh, it has
Super
problems.
complicated.
I would never say it doesn't have any problems.
No, I'm
Especially
not saying it doesn't have any problems. I'm just saying it's complicated.
well,
So
it's healthcare. It's not
that's
supposed
why
to
I
be.
don't.
Yeah, it's
Huh?
healthcare. It's healthcare. It's not supposed to be 1 + 1 is 2. There's some
But
nuances and
it,
some.
but it should. But that's my thing. So then we're talking about the different structures. So I think maybe that's where our distinction could be. Medicare for all would be built on the Medicare model. Universal health care would be built on the private insurance model. It just wouldn't be private insurance anymore. I would rather deal with the private insurance model than the Medicare model. I think that maybe that's like
Saying. I get you. Don't agree, but I get what you're saying.
All I really asked was everybody to get back on subject. I honestly don't.
But we had to make sure what he was saying, Marlon. And why you gonna just disappear from the?
I don't even
we go off track all the time, but now he's gonna sit in the corner and cry.
I know.
because nobody helps me with the editing when I have to actually make this show. So now I got to go back and try to figure out what to do. Y'all love me. I'm gonna
How are
get
you
Did
going? How
nobody?
the voice of God segment that you're doing right now?
Yeah, really.
For real.
I'm
Do you need help?
not
We're
even
having
going to
an important discussion about how people should pay for health care, and you want to get all smart about it.
Ted Cruz, everybody. Ted Cruz.
Well, don't mention that schmuck.
Do you
Lindsey
do you
Graham is
even
the best
remember
senator
what
we've
your
ever
point
had.
was is before you even got on the Medicaid for all things? Do you remember what your point was?
Not really.
There we go. We're moving on to
I
this
would have
video.
been able to, but I just had to listen to the voice of God fussing at me.
Oh yeah, because I just literally was taking up the last 10 minutes talking about this.
I just wanted to understand where Thebes was coming from. I asked a reasonable follow-up question.
But if in answer to your question, what I was talking about was
Oh,
about the way people are weaponizing the
And they do it all the time.
This is my new
like
sponsored
either
daughter.
hello.
hello.
What's her name?
Chandrika. It means moonlight in
Oh, I like
Bengali.
that.
I'm gonna move on to the next video. It doesn't really matter because I can show any video and we can get on why horses run faster than zebras. It doesn't matter
We're
anymore.
talking
Oh,
about
zebra.
pro-life and how there are many ways that you can be pro-life. You can actually help out with children who are right here breathing on this earth right now.
And that is the point that I'm having is and I really do find myself just repeating the same thing over and over again. Is that you're not pro-life, you're pro-control. You just
Yeah,
have this thing about you that you just have to be able to control any aspect of somebody else's life in some type of way. It is just so sickening and disheartening that you're willing. I said this when I even see parents outside of abortion clinics with their signs and everything up and they're protesting and how dare you and getting into these pregnant women's faces and blah 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 and everything else. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm saying I haven't seen it. That it is amazing how I see all these people jumping up in everybody else's faces, and I ain't seen not one freaking child standing beside you.
They take their kids all the time.
Yeah, they sure do. They
I
take
have
their
never
children.
seen it.
Look at what I did. I had my child. I did what was right. Blah blah blah
They had
blah
their
blah.
kids right there holding signs.
I have never seen it.
Haven't you heard
Maybe some videos that I've seen. But
the
my point of
lieutenant
that,
Oh,
governor
my
of
whole point
Virginia
is,
or whatever her name is, the black lady? I was a product of rape, and I'm glad my mother didn't. Shut up.
but Tracy, that's the deal. That is the deal that I want to make. That's fine. Congratulations to you. But your
every right to
situation
say
should
that.
not have a freaking effect on everybody else.
But the
That's not
conversation
how that
isn't.
works. This is not how it should work.
If you
What you
live in
went through,
yep,
what you
yep.
went through should not have effect on everybody.
But Marlon, if you live in a state where you don't even have to be 18 to buy a gun. You don't have to go to a background check to buy a gun.
Texas, yeah. But I
Well,
agree with
in
you.
Indiana also, because our law is worse than Texas.
Yeah,
Children
Indiana
as
is
young
what
as
feeds Illinois with their
yep,
guns.
with their guns. You could be a minimum of 13 years old. 13.
I think that's North Carolina. I don't think you get a
Yeah.
license, but you
A lot
get
of times at 13, as long you can be 13 as long as you're buying like a long rifle, a long
yeah.
barrel rifle. But here's the thing though, and the
To
funny
do with
part,
my own body.
they
What?
these pro birth people line up very much with Second Amendment people.
They sure do.
And the leading cause of death for children who are born, gun violence.
Right?
But I like my gun because I'm scared of the scary person who might hurt me one day.
Yeah,
It's
basically.
you're not going to be able to speak logic to
No,
You
no,
can.
no.
situation.
That's why I stopped
We
arguing
speak
with them.
logic. We speak logic on this show to people who A has logic to, or B who likes to have a different perspective and open minded to understand a different perspective.
And they think if you make abortion illegal, somehow that's going to stop. Oh my gosh, if I
Yeah.
have that discussion one more time, I'm like,
Oh,
you aren't
no.
even logical.
It'll be the same thing as prohibition. They're going to find a way to get it done.
No, that's the
You don't
point
even
I'm
have to compare
making.
it to abortion
But
or
that's not the
prohibition.
argument they'll make. They will
Just
sit there and tell you,
just yeah, you don't have to compare it to prohibition. You just compare it to abortion.
yeah.
I mean, we go back to people who were dying
Before
beforehand, right? But for me, one of the things that it comes down to a lot, yes, it's a control thing we were talking about, but it's about what's icky. So we're talking about people who are oftentimes very, very repressed, very, very repressed, right? And so anything that's icky, they want to get rid of it. They want to push it into the shadows. They want to not have to see or hear it. And poverty is icky. So they pass laws that make it illegal for a homeless person to sleep on a grate that generates heat at night, or sleep in a doorway, or sleep on a bench. But they don't pass laws to create alternative housing solutions. They pass laws and ordinances and harass people for being transvestites, because that's what they're talking about with the gay. I mean, what is it?
Don't
They
say
call it
gay.
transgender story time, but it's not only just transgender. It's people in drag. People in drag ain't nothing but a transvestite. So you want to go after them, right? Because you think it's icky. You don't want two gay men together because you think it's icky because they do butt stuff, right? It's all about what they don't want to see because of how repressed they are, and they know they can't convince anybody to go that way, right? You have to be indoctrinated and raised up in this crap. So since I can't convince you, then I need to get the power to command you. And then in order to get the power and to command you, that means I have to have my role in government. Even though I keep saying I want smaller and smaller government and I want the government out of my personal life, but that's only really I want it out of my personal life.
Yeah, my heterosexual
I want it in
mind.
yours though, because you're doing life wrong. See, if you were doing it my way, you were doing life right. You're doing life wrong. And the only way for me to stop you is to get the authority of government to stop you.
But never tell a pro-lifer that making abortion illegal won't stop abortion. They don't want to hear it. I'm like, it's just logical sense. Nope. So I've literally stopped. I'm like, you want to be pro-life? Do you?
I told you, learn a long time ago. I am refusing, and I tried it this year, and I'm at more peace. I haven't taken a break yet. Probably take the first week of April off though, just to exhale. And yeah, I'm gonna get boo from Tracy, but I don't know yet. I don't know yet.
Right. Pass a law that says it's illegal to say the word stop. Pass a law says that word is illegal. Can't say it. I bet people will have a fit. And that's, to me, that's just as random as telling somebody what they can do with their body.
Pretty much.
It only bothers you when it's something you won't do.
If you don't want to marry somebody, if you think it's wrong, don't. It's just real simple. Don't.
You're not doing it right, Tracy. You're not doing it right.
Again, I am pro mind my own.
Exactly.
Damn
It's not
business.
affecting you. Go.
Now, wait a minute. This is where we do have a little bit of a distinction. We still end up in the same place, Marlon, but abortion to me is different than when we're talking about what someone who's doing in the queer community. It's a different thing. Because when we're talking about abortion, you're moving into a life and death conversation. So now you're overlapping a lot of things. You're talking about, when does life happen? When does death happen? Is there pain involved? You got religion that comes into it. Like, the scientific community can't even agree. Okay? So that gets harder. And I think that what you do to your child, I should be able to weigh in on to an extent. Right? You can't be beating your child in the streets. You can't be starving your child and keeping them in a dog kennel. Right? We have a responsibility one to another to not let those things go on if we can stop it. And that just naturally bleeds on over to the pregnancy and abortion discussion.
But I get what you're saying.
So that's why I think that, we end up in the same place,
Yeah,
Marlon,
we're going to end up.
but
in
I'm
the
just
same
saying
thing.
the argument's different.
Yeah, I think my argument. I think I argued it wrong. I apologize. I think I argued it wrong. I think if you were literally doing what's best for the child, and I hate to use this like this because you're saying that you're doing the best for the child. So that means abortion. You can't have abortion because you're doing what's best for the child. That's not what I'm saying. And obviously you know what I'm saying, because again, if you heard me earlier, I was saying you're trying to cut every freaking political way that you can possibly do to help the child after they're born. So, but in a way, I'm not talking to you because you don't want to use logic anyway. So I'm talking to the people who use logic. When I say mind your own business, is I go out of my way to sit there and try to give you alternatives in a perfect world. Okay. In a perfect world, I would go out of my way to give you alternatives. These programs are here. You can adopt. These programs will help you raise the child better. These programs will help you, function better with this child. I understand it's hard out there. You may not be a good parent, but there's programs that help you. And these people are cutting these programs out that the people who do decide to get an abortion, unfortunately, sees that whether you agree with me or not agree on me, that the life of themselves and that child would be worse off if they were born. And I'm sorry that I have to say it like that, but it's the damn truth. It's the freaking truth that they have to come down to stability with a child compared to instability for 18 plus years.
What I would love, so we can move to your next piece, what I would love, and I think that many would echo me on this, we have tried the punishment to affect behavior model. It would be nice now to try the compassion to affect behavior model. That would be nice. There are some people you just need to punish, right? You did something this bad. Here's your punishment, right? Consequence for said action, murder, rape, right? But when we're talking about basically, you can't punish your way out of poverty.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Doesn't work.
Ooh, Parker, I'm gonna hold your question to the end of the show because
Yeah, we could go a whole hour on that one.
woo, that's another hour.
I can't read it. Sorry.
This is a hypothetical question. Do you all think the super conservative parent would be more upset? Boy, that's about as creepy as your ass can get. The super conservative parent would be more upset at their child getting an abortion or their child coming out as gay, lesbian, bi.
It's the second one. It's
Abortion.
the second one.
Abortion. Because you got gay people, you got gay, lesbian, and bi people who are rabidly Republican.
This I don't know. I have literally
I'm gonna go with the second one.
I have literally seen and heard so many stories of parents dropping their kids off at what freaking age they are. That you are no longer a part of this house.
Kicking you out
and
the
on
house.
top of that, you got to get out now.
I am not making an argument that the two things are equal. I am not saying that if I choose one that the other stops happening. I am saying if we're talking about conservatives, I think they would be easier to deal with their child being gay than their child having an abortion, even though in the quiet of darkness, they would take their child to get the abortion because they already do.
Yeah, they're going to take them to whatever.
Nikki helped what I was saying too. The super conservatives who have money would have no problem with their child having an abortion. Nothing is worse than their child being a member of the. Exactly.
Yep, nothing. Because that means they failed as a parent.
We have absolutely no data whatsoever of the 1%ers, and I'm just throwing it out there, of the 1%ers that has the money who will sit there in the line and try to put their little finger and poke you in the chest about its road to have an abortion without acknowledging family members who've had secret abortions.
But they don't talk to them.
They can remember. But because they're rich, you don't know anything about it. But
that's secret abortions. Secret abortions is different. That's kind of like in the church, you can get away with the quiet sins. It's the loud ones that get you condemned by the congregation, right? So it's different. So secret abortions, they do those, right? They do them all the time. They use them like birth control to some extent, but it depends on who you're talking about. I guess it really does, because your ultra religious would be mainly offended by the gay thing. The ultra conservative would be affected by the abortion thing. So they're triggered by different things.
Okay. Oh yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That makes sense. We don't need to put them together. It literally is two separate things. So yeah,
they play the same team.
They're the same
one's
team.
Offense and one's defense. They ain't playing it the same way.
All right, let's move on because I tried to keep this, and we're not going to make the 3 hour. We're going to hit the 3 hour mark, unfortunately, but
we can do it, man. 15 minutes. Let's run.
All right, this video is so quick that I'm not even going to take anybody down, and to give everybody a heads up, the point of the video is literally at the beginning. It's literally at the beginning, so you have to pay attention as soon as it comes up. And of course, I'm going to have people that's going to sit there and go, play it again, I missed it. I will, but it's literally at the beginning. So pay attention to the people who all you have to do is just keep your mouth shut and let them talk.
We haven't done anything. We're a totally peaceful racist group.
He said what he said.
Did you catch it, Anna? No. Okay.
I caught it real quick.
Pay close attention to what he is saying. Try to speak fast, and it's worse when you speak fast because you F yourself up even worse. Here you go.
We haven't done anything. We're a totally peaceful racist group.
Did he do a High Hitler sign after he said that?
No, he probably turned around.
No,
the group probably
he just threw his hand up in frustration.
Because I'm like, boy, he said what he said.
He ain't gonna recover from that one. I don't care what your argument was. But Your Honor, I request a continuance.
Nah, bro. You lost. Just take it L and just walk it on.
Can we take a recess, Your Honor?
That's what I was gonna say. Can we take a recess? Because oh God, I literally.
We just want to hate people in peace. That's all we want.
We don't.
What would you even try to say?
We don't lynch them anymore. What else do you want?
Shit, Parker is real easy. Take out the word racist. That's what messed him up.
He meant to say racist.
No, he didn't mean to say racist. He meant to say we are a peaceful group. He didn't mean to say racist. But again, like I've always told everybody, don't interrupt people when they're talking. Let them talk.
But that's a Freudian slip, which meant he wanted to say racist. He didn't think he was gonna say it out loud, but oops, it just kind of what's in your heart is gonna come out of your mouth. His
preparation for that moment in his head was something like, okay, don't say racist, don't say racist, don't say racist, don't say racist, don't say racist.
Yeah,
racist. Oh, damn it.
Yeah. But Mickey, when did they write it?
Yeah, it's an interesting debate as that y'all get more about. I appreciate y'all doing this for 3 hours. Love this show. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Parker. Even though it's not your show.
Love your support and your feedback because it's really dope.
It really is. Parker, you are I'm so glad that you're here. I really am. You fill in a lot of gaps, especially when we was talking about 92 riots that had happened in 91. So the 1991 incident, the 1992 rebellion. So you fill in a lot of gaps. And I appreciate it.
Baby Mafia is the son I never
Baby
had.
Mafia is
Baby
Mafia. A roll. Baby Mafia.
He started yesterday and he continued it right into today.
If the
you said you didn't mind Parker, right?
If the ambassador of Ukraine Mafia has told you that you are a phenomenal person, take it to heed. All right, we got 2 people down. We got several people to go. I don't even know exactly what to name everybody. We still got one that wants to be an assassin. That was Susan. But we couldn't come up with a name for that one yet. So, Susan, work on that.
It's basically me, CS, and Susan. We're the only 3 that don't have a name yet.
And me?
I'm Dark Mafia. Talking about.
When have you been Dark Mafia?
When did we get? Because you
first day.
Did you?
I said it the first day.
I don't remember you ever saying anything about
you ever saying Dark Mafia.
Mafia. I never remembered you saying that.
But fine.
I remember you saying it, but then I remember you saying that you would have to think about it.
Yeah, I did laugh after I said it, but I haven't found anything better. So
you're gonna leave it at that.
So that leaves Marlon, me, and Susan. We are only 3 that don't have a name yet.
Well,
you're the white-haired ladies.
No, I'm not. No, we're not gonna put nothing about my wife.
Well, we don't have one for Mickey either. We don't have one for Mickey.
Yes, we do.
Silver-haired mafia.
Yeah, Mickey. I thought Mickey was his silver hair mafia. I really did.
We gave that to you. We didn't give that to
No,
Mickey.
no, you didn't, because I said, "Don't you be putting that on me." And Mickey was like, "Oh no, I'm the silver hair." Because when she said when she's on TYT, she signs in as the silver hair dragon. So when she's on this show, she could be the silver hair mafia.
Okay.
So therefore, the white hair mafia, and I have black hair. I have black hair. It's in the back, but I have black hair.
Smoky Mafia, gotcha.
Oh God. Okay, wait a minute. We got some stuff in.
Oh, I like that.
Thank you all. He said it in that chat. Did say it on one show in the chat that he was Dark Mafia.
Dark Mafia. He said I must have missed it. So Theus is Dark Mafia.
Theus is Dark Mafia, even though he said he was gonna think about it.
Y'all burning this time. Y'all said y'all was trying to meet.
No, I don't like that name for myself. No.
Can I be the first gen Italian Mafia?
Yep.
But you can say Italian Mafia. That's a low name for first gen Italian Mafia.
Tracy is FTK Mafia.
I don't get it.
I don't. I'm trying to put the word.
Blank them kids.
No, it's not. I do not dislike children. I dislike bad children. I don't dislike.
No, you don't. No, you don't like bad kids. You send me a video of a bad kid that you be want me to play on the show. No, you don't like bad kids.
I do not dislike children. I just like misbehaved children whose parents sit by and think it's cute.
Again, you sent me a
All right,
video.
Royal Queen. Royal Queen Mafia. There you go. You got your royalty. There you go. Royal Queen. There you go.
Okay, that one, Parker. Yes. Third party mafia. Yes. That I can roll with. I can rock with that. I can rock with
gonna pretend like I ain't say nothing. That's all right though.
Did you say something similar? I did not hear you. I'm sorry.
I ain't say that. I didn't say that. No.
Pen Assassin Mafia. Pen Assassin Mafia.
You know, I tried to watch Grease today. I couldn't do it.
It's a terrible movie.
What movie was that?
The musical Grease is terrible.
I'm on the second episode of True Lies. Like, you're gonna be background sound at this point because it's just not interesting at all. It's just not. It's just okay. It literally is one of those shows. It's like, I'm not gonna stop watching you because you're just that bad, but it's like I can't see myself going out of my way to watch you. It's just it has to that show. And I know it's the second episode, but it's like,
give me classic TV any day of the week.
So anyway, we're back to the last video of the night so we can get on up out of here. Yeah. Pay attention. This is a joke. For anybody offended, and if you're offended, that's your problem. But it's a joke.
Bro, my wife's so stupid. She bought a $12,000 kitchen and she can't even cook. Dude, my wife's so freaking dumb. She bought a $40,000 car and she can't even drive. Oh, that's nothing, man. My wife bought 100 condoms for a business trip and she doesn't even have a penis.
Bruh, she cheating on. Bruh.
She ain't cheating. She got a whole nother life.
Thank you. That's what I told Foxy when I played it. Was like, I get she bought some condoms, and she don't have a penis. Ha ha ha. 100?
Yeah, she.
At least she's being safe. Must be. Hey, This is part. Oh no, they said his wife though. But it's like this is just like the guy who's in the open relationship.
Except for he thought
And
it
but
was
it wasn't supposed to be an
monogamous.
open relationship.
Yeah.
Anna, you okay?
I'm sorry, I missed it. Yeah, I'm alright.
You sure?
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. You want me to play it again?
Could you please? Yeah, sorry, I had to go check meds.
No, no problem at all. We could look at the idiotic husband again.
Bro, my wife's so stupid. She bought a $12,000 kitchen and she can't even cook. Dude, my wife's so freaking dumb. She bought a $40,000 car and she can't even drive. Oh, that's nothing, man. My wife bought 100 condoms for a business trip and she doesn't even have a penis.
Even the dog is like, man, come on.
Yeah, I don't find it funny. I find it tragic.
Finding that
Oh,
your wife may be a hooker. 100 condoms.
well, how come it's okay for her? Nah, now you condemn her for sleep with. We don't. Well, I'm gonna be quiet. I'm
I'm
not
gonna
gonna
let
say.
you
Well, no
finish.
one's
I'm
made a,
trying to figure
a
out what your
condemning
point
statement.
was.
Never
Nah, she
mind.
basically saying that you calling her a hooker for having 100 condoms, but would you call a man a hooker for having 100 condoms?
Yes, if you're married and you go and have a whole
Or in
bunch
a
of
serious
condoms,
committed
yeah,
relationship.
no, I know
Well,
this is
I think the most generous interpretation
Is
is
she
to
cheating on him?
call no. I think the most generous interpretation is to call her a hooker. Shame and sex work. The
well,
least
yeah, that would be
generous
like,
interpretation would be that she's cheating because
Well,
no,
now
obviously
we
he
ought to
thinks
be
it's a
she's a different
monogamous
thing.
relationship. So
yeah, Tracy. I don't look. Cheating to me is cheating. I'm not male or female or who did this compared to who did this and everything else. I don't learned a long time ago. Yeah, if you have a definition of cheating, does not determine what your sex is. So yes, if you find if your husband has a condom in his wallet, it's the equivalent of your wife having a condom in her purse. If
I was
you
just holding it for
both
my homeboy.
homeboy, what boyfriend girlfriend roll it out, what?
Nah, we were out with the fellas, and he didn't take his wallet with him. You know what I'm saying? But just in case he hooked up, I was holding on to it for him so that he'd have something when they get ready to go. But I guess he forgot about it.
What do
yeah.
who literally who the hell are you think you talking to? Because I done grew up in the hood a long time ago and I ain't have one brother sit there and say, could you hold my condom for me?
Hey, you ain't got to believe it; it just got to be said. That's the trick. That's the trick about it all, man. I'm
Anybody
just
says
saying.
that, I
You
mean,
ever try to catch a woman in a lie? You ever try to catch a woman in a lie? She will hold on to the dumbest damn lie in the world. But as long as you hold on to it, you just don't break the story. Hold to that same dumbass lie.
I was
The
holding them
fact
for him.
remains you did not prove
Sure,
me
he
to be
didn't have
wrong. You
pockets
just don't
or
agree with me.
a wallet of his own, but I was holding on to him. What the?
uh
And she poked holes in him.
Yeah, your
Dang.
homeboy gonna be sitting there pokety pokety poke. Isn't that what you said, Marlon? Pokety pokety poke.
Oh man, I'm very pleased y'all not sure that Greece is baby mafia. Huh?
When he was talking about the Tell Me More song from Greece.
Oh god. Story y'all had a long time ago about the woman who poked. Oh no, we remember the
Yeah,
story.
we remember. That's why we was like,
Trust me.
oh boy, he really brought that up.
Boy, don't worry about it. We all remember that story.
But Susan, you wrong for that comment over there. Somehow, think bulk.
I know that Grease is, but I only know that one song in it, and I haven't seen the whole.
Don't see it. Don't watch it, Parker. Don't watch it. Do
Don't
not.
watch it, dude. No, actually, you
No.
know what, Parker?
Grease was a
Do
good one.
watch it. Watch it for about 30 or 40 minutes. Because what I want you to see is the tell me more segment. And you'll see the girl side is fun to watch. The guy side, you're like, what the hell are you guys doing?
Susan said, but if
What
the
if condoms are cheaper in bulk? Oh my goodness. Susie, we talking about
He
1,000
is being a
condoms,
responsible
not
shopper.
100.
Hey, if you buy the bulk, might as well since
I actually do know people who carry extra just in case, and
I wish my man would. I was holding these condoms
Look,
because
no, she is going out on a missionary trip. Those condoms is so that she can give them out to others so that they can properly protect themselves.
it's missionary, all right. Take it for what it's worth. It's missionary.
No, because missionary is too intimate. It's got to be more of like a reverse cowgirl, maybe, you know, some doggy, you know. Is, you know,
why did I come on here today? Why?
Wild Mountain, you know.
What?
so you can get purified tomorrow morning.
Some bucking Bronco.
Hey Tracy, what did you talk about last night? Well, what we talked about was
I can't repeat.
Yeah, you just got to watch the whole thing for yourself. There you go. Here's the clip. Watch it.
And she's going to go around and make sure that there's only one nightstand each. So one.
Just because I thought you were actually talking about an actual nightstand. What else was... I don't think like you all think, apparently.
No, this is not a one night stand. That's a desk. Just in case anybody missed what we talked about, that's exactly how it went.
No, they make a lot of jokes at my expense. None of them are disagreeing.
No.
Just had a Bible and a balloon.
It's like the red pill and the blue pill. Which one you gonna grab?
I'm just here to help save your head and your heart.
I'll let you decide.
No, not that head. The other head.
I'll let you decide between the Bible and the balloon. Which one do you grab? Oh, by the way, it's 9 o'clock p.m. on a Sunday. On a Saturday night.
I'm taking the fifth on this whole entire discussion.
Don't forget to
As
move
you
your
travel
clock.
down the valley of death.
Oh,
I want you to take this.
Don't forget that the clock is rolling forward tonight.
Is it?
Yep.
I just trust my cell phone to do whatever it does.
Yep. Spread forward.
When I used to go to church, it mattered. I don't go to church no more. So I'm just like, I'll be good.
How nice of the government to allow us Sunday to get used to waking up early for no freaking
No reason
whatsoever.
Yeah, it's a little outdated at this point.
You know what's funny? What I read, this is what kills me. So you know the reason why they did it to begin with was because of farmers, because they have a schedule of the things that they need to do. They have to do it on a certain amount of time. The sun being
give them the most sunlight as possible for what they're trying to do.
Do you understand that the farmers don't even use that anymore?
Well, no, no one does now.
Yeah, the farmers don't even use that metric anymore.
They used to wake up with the rooster.
Yes. And they probably still do, but yes.
No, I mean, think about it. The rooster is triggered by the change in pressure and atmospheric pressure and the sun. So they did their little thing with the time value, all that. But if you think about it, like they say, well, let's get rid of what is it, daylight savings? Is that what they call it? They say let's get rid of it. But at what point do you get rid of it? Do you get rid of it in the spring, or you get rid of it in the winter?
Get rid of it, period.
When we fall back,
But you have to pick
because I heard that
one of those times to start from.
Because
when we
like I lived in
fall back. When do we get rid of it? And I said fall back.
See, Indiana used to be. We never changed our clocks, never. I don't know why. Now Hawaii is the only state that doesn't change. I never had to worry about changing my clock. I could just go sleep, wake up. Why is we doing
I agree.
this?
Time is a figment anyway. It's all a construct.
Thank you, Quantum Leap.
It's the truth.
I got another week before I have to deal with this. Really?
They do that over there?
So now do they do it over there? They do it a week after? You know what?
It's an arbitrary thing.
That sounds like
when do you want to do it? How you want to do it?
I apologize, Sue. That sounds like such a arrogant American. How dare you not do it how we do it type of statement.
We are
always.
I mean, look at us. Look at us over here with Eastern, Central, Pacific, Mountain. I mean, just come up with stuff.
I didn't know any of that stuff existed until I actually got on the internet. Eastern, Pacific, Mountain, all that stuff.
But you know
Hawaii, Alaska. Let me think. Alaska, Hawaii. That's a time frame. Pacific, Central.
Hawaii first. Hawaii, Alaska. Pacific.
Hawaii,
Mountain.
Alaska. So we go that route. Hawaii, Alaska,
Pacific.
Mountain.
Then Central.
Okay, then Central, then Eastern.
And then Eastern.
And that's
you're
only
moving
if you're
that
centering.
way.
And that's here. Just here. We're not going to
Right.
Brazil.
That's just centering it on us.
Yeah, of course. Duh. I mean, that's what Americans do best. We center stuff on ourselves.
All right, let's get on out of here, folks. Change it up a little bit.
I actually have to look up what time zones are called around the world because the support group has people from different time zones, and figuring that out.
I have.
Universal time.
I have to do it on my job. I have to do it on my job all the time. That I literally.
I haven't had to care one bit since only time those times mattered to me was when I lived in Germany and when I lived in Hawaii. Outside of that, didn't matter. So now I'm able to just be like, well, I'm Eastern, so I'm the standard time for America. So whatever. Wake up when you wake up out there. I'm like, sometimes I can't remember. All right, Pacific is 3 hours back, right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes I think it's 4, and I'm like, that's not right.
No. That would be if you're talking to somebody in Hawaii or Alaska.
Off of California and go 3, 2, 1. California 3, Texas 2. That's not right.
Alaska is 1 hour behind Pacific. Hawaii is 2. They're not in the same.
Yeah. But if you're looking at the grand United States, California 3, Texas 2, we're 0.
Yeah, well, what's Mountain?
Colorado.
That's
no, I mean, like, how does their time factor in? Are they 2 hours?
3.
Well, it depends on the state because there are some states that don't partake in daylight saving.
Hawaii is the only one I know of.
I believe Arizona.
Oh yeah, Arizona, Hawaii. It used to be Arizona, Hawaii, Indiana. Indiana, we started taking part of it like 10 years ago. Yep, we sure do. We got 2 time zones, Central and Eastern. And Indianapolis is always Eastern.
Y'all can talk as low as y'all want to, as long as I got the music.
Yeah, you have no idea how crazy you look because you're the only one that can hear this music you're talking about.
Oh, that was low.
No, because we want it low so we can hear each other talk.
Mountain is 2 hours behind. Is there not a cutoff though, Parker? I think that's my question. Is there not a cutoff between mountain and mountain?
Yeah, you have to look at a map, I think, because it's like it's not straight line.
And
No, time zones are weird.
And this is the part where I say I just don't even care no more. Tracy, tell everybody where they can find you.
TracyMediaLLC.com.
Is.
Hey, y'all, go to my YouTube page while my internet, my webpage is a little bit in the meantime, in the between time, right? So Facebook, Complex Minds /Simple Man. Check me out.
Anna?
I really conveniently wrote it down right here, so you don't. MoreliaEtc.com. Right there.
Right there. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages.
Hold on one second. Hey, Anna, did you get your mug?
Yes, I did. You didn't see?
Awesome. Awesome.
I've portrayed it on the show at least twice.
Okay, because I know you got your shirt. I couldn't remember if you got in the mug. So, okay.
I did.
Sorry, Mama.
And I'm going to sit here peacefully waiting for my flag. Oh!
Ooh. Listening for that apology.
It's not coming.
It's not coming.
Because technically he doesn't have it yet. So yeah, I know.
But when he gets it, well,
yes.
No, because it's still accurate for this moment.
Okay.
That's the point. That's all I love.
I'm 3/4 of the way there.
And I put it literally back here. So just in case y'all know.
That's the way Jared Kushner would put it.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, non-conforming individuals, that is our show for tonight. I appreciate Anna, Tracy, and Thea's coming on the show. And until next time, we will see you when we see you. Peace.
Now, how is Trump actually winning when he said get rid of the Constitution?
Because guns.
Vote for Lindsey